Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I'm joined by my co-host,
Mary.
And today we're talking about Survivor Samoa. We're going to deep dive, breakdown, winner analysis. I think I changed the name of these podcasts, Mary, for purposes of people clicking on them, but it's the same idea. So if you like what you're going to hear in this one, check out our past ones. So I think they've gotten better with each podcast. Like our first one, Survivor the Amazon, is not going to be as good as our newer ones.
Unfortunately, because that's a good season, right?
Yeah, I know. Maybe one day we'll go back and fix those mistakes. But yeah, today we're doing Survivor Samoa. The reason we went from Gabon to Samoa is because we did Tocantins like 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think it was like 2 years ago. As a bonus for the patrons. So yeah, we're on Samoa, which means heroes versus villains right around the corner. And these 2 seasons basically hold hands because Russell's on both of them. So we're going to try to break this down by pre-merge, post-merge, final tribal council, and then we'll do your all's questions that we got on Patreon. And I think I'm going to say this because I think it'll be crazy enough. I don't know if I did this on the Gabon one because we did that way ahead as well. Mm-hmm. It is currently May. Mm-hmm. When this goes on YouTube, I think it'll be August, September.
Cool.
But it's going to be on Patreon now. I just want to let people know like how far in advance we record these things. Insane. Right away, I think Survivor Samoa is visually better than Gabon and Tocantins.
I would agree with that. I mean, it's been a long time since we watched Tocantins, but I do remember Gabon being a little less fun to look at visually.
Gabon has a really cool location.
Yeah.
But it seems like they were just trying to figure out how to do color grading or something like that with Gabon. It was very yellow.
Yeah. Here
in Samoa, there are times where I see it's like a bit yellow, maybe a bit green, it's a bit off a little bit, but most of the time, like the colors here really pop. Mm-hmm. This is probably, I don't know what happens because after Heroes vs. Villains, they done screwed up again. Like Redemption Island looks absolutely horrendous. It's like brown, but this season, it's like beautiful everywhere.
They had to make it look good for Russell.
Well, Russell's on Redemption Island as well.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. They put in the extra effort just for Russell.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. So I just wanted to point that out. I was like, right away, you noticed that. And the first episode has the Pirates theme.
It does. It's not the same. I mean, it's pretty piratey.
Tell me what the difference is as somebody who knows music. Like, you have the actual Pirates of the Caribbean theme. What are they doing here to make sure it's not the official theme? Because it sounds so close to it.
I mean, it's just a few notes different. It's similar rhythm, tempo, and some of the notes are the same, but they're not all the same. It's just a similar style.
It is. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. It gives you that Pirates of the Caribbean feel. For some reason, I don't know why, and I wonder if it's almost as a result of Gabon, Mary. Mm-hmm. They have them pick their own leaders. I know, this was weird, and it didn't really seem to matter at all. Like, I kind of did with Russell Swan. We'll just call him Swan from now on for ease of talking. But it didn't matter at all with Mick, and I wasn't sure, like, what was the leader supposed to do? Help them build the camp? I don't know. Like, there was no, besides the very beginning, there were very few decisions where it's like, okay, make sure your leader does this or this. Yeah, the leader only basically decided who's going to the other camp when they want to challenge, or that one time, which we'll talk about all these, that they got to pick between these 2 different rewards. Mm-hmm. But it's like, when your team's losing everything, aka Foa, aka Mick, how are you supposed to be the leader? Like, well, and then I do feel kind of bad because then Mick got blamed a lot for Foa losing, saying, oh, you are not a good leader. You didn't help. You didn't energize your team and make sure they were doing it right. And I'm like, how? Like, nobody really treated him like a leader. Maybe that was his fault. Because of how he acted. Maybe, but I don't think that was necessarily fair. I think the other team was just better. I mean, I have a personal bias towards Russell Swan. I like Russell Swan too. I don't think he's a good Survivor player. That's only proven when he comes back and plays again on a later season. But I really like Russell Swan. He takes this leadership thing seriously. Mm-hmm. And he tries to do his best. Even if he's doing the wrong thing, he's trying to do his best. He's not like the other Russell this season. Right. No, he legitimately wants to help his team out and make sure that they win and do well and encourage people. So yeah, they're definitely like complete opposites in that way. For sure. So Mary, I know you've seen Samoa in the past. So coming into this time watching it, you already knew how it ended. Mm-hmm. So how is this viewing experience different than previously?
This was different because I did make sure to, like, all the scenes with Natalie stuck out more to me this time around.
Because you knew to look for it. Right,
because I knew to look for it. So it made a lot more sense to me at the end when she does win. So that was nice because I was like, oh, I actually can see her gameplay this time, such as it was. And so that was helpful for me. I don't know. I guess all the scenes with Russell maybe weren't quite as annoying because I'd already seen them. And so I'm like, okay.
You know where it's going.
Yeah, I know where it's going, I guess. They were still annoying. I can, like, he's one of my least favorite. Hans is one of my least favorite.
How many confessionals can they give this guy where he's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to win the $1 million. My beautiful brain. I'm doing everything. Everybody else around here is just doing nothing, you know? It's like 30 confessionals are him saying that.
He talked way too much.
There's any chance they got to get him to say that his beautiful brain is going to dominate everybody and how he's already won the $1 million, you know? People usually get like one of those a season.
Right.
Like, I remember Ace and Gabon said that one time, and he was the arrogant character that season. Right. Russell here says it. And why 30.
Do you think? I mean, it almost felt like the producers were setting him up too, because they know at this point when they're editing that he didn't win.
Oh yeah, no.
So it's like they're setting him up to be a joke.
No, you know what though? I think there's two ways to look at this. Because I would agree with you if Natalie got more content, but it really feels like they want you to feel like Russell got robbed. I really think that. They really focus on Russell all the time. And for the casual audience, it's exactly what they thought. Heck, my dad thought that.
Yeah.
He's our definition of a casual audience member. He loves Russell. He thinks Russell should have won. He doesn't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't, you know.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point, because if they had wanted him just to look like an idiot, they would have shown more content of Natalie doing so. Because this time I was like, oh, Natalie orchestrated the Eric vote out. Yeah. Like, that was all Natalie.
That was huge.
And that was like one of her biggest moves. And I'm like, oh, she's not just sitting around. Too. Yeah. This was probably her key moment or whatever in the game.
Natalie was making friends with people.
Yes. And I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal of Russell. I know he's polarizing. I know.
Oh, no, I get the appeal of Russell.
It's good drama. It's good TV, whatever.
You just said the reason why.
Sure. But I guess.
No, the end of the season is very imbalanced. There's no way else to look at it. Russell should not have gotten, like, I forgot what it was. Like, I'm going to look it up real quick, but I think it's like 115 confessionals, something insane like that. Natalie gets like 15.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But, okay, can you tell people about. We basically go to Fofo after that first challenge. First challenge means almost like, who cares? Like, I don't even remember what you get from it. It doesn't really matter. So we go to Fofo, and Russell talks about, I don't want to work. I came here to play. And then goes into his alliance idea. What's his alliance idea?
The Dumb Girl Alliance or something. I'm sure he was more crude about it.
Oh, he was way more crude.
His whole goal was to make an alliance with all of the girls because he thought they would be dumb and they would just do what he said and follow him blindly.
Russell got 108 confessionals. I just double checked.
Ridiculous.
The second most this season, you could probably guess who had it.
Shambo?
Yep, Shambo. With, guess how many?
80 something?
She got 39.
Oh, wow.
Russell got 108
crazy.
and she got 39. That's the second most this season. Yep. And your winner gets 15. Believe it or not. So, Russell's Dumb Girl Alliance. He decides, I'm going to align with what he perceives as all these dumb girls. And then he's going to use them. He's going to take them to the end and use them. But we quickly learn that he's just going to vote them all off with the exception of Natalie.
Yeah, well, because he found out that they're not quite such dumb girls. Yeah. Because immediately, what's her name? Betsy was like, okay, Russell's a snake. Don't trust Russell. Yeah. Marisa was like, don't trust Russell. Yeah. You know, and so, yes, unfortunately, they got voted out.
He didn't think they were going to talk to each other.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, how can you not? I don't know. Like, it's okay to make a couple of alliances, but he literally made an alliance with like every person on the tribe. You and me to the end. You and me to the end. You and me to the end. We're final two. Too
many people, and he does it the whole game too. You see it even at the end. We talks to Brett like, "There's no reason for this, Russell. You don't have to do this."
Right.
I think Brett might view you as a goat as it is.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, during this episode, Betsy even tells Natalie not to trust Russell.
Yeah, I just said that.
Well, Betsy and Marisa both are on to him. And then Betsy later is like, I wouldn't trust Russell.
Yeah.
To Natalie. So
I feel like Russell took the leadership position in this tribe and everyone just kind of followed what, because like he had a pretty good alliance with Jason, with Mick. I mean, obviously we know Jason, Mick, and Natalie were his tightest, but I'd say the whole tribe kind of just did what he wanted after Marisa and Betsy.
Well, when you lack another leader on the tribe, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there was this vacuum, and for some reason Russell filled it, and that's why they failed in my mind.
Here's the thing. I wonder if Mick had actually been the leader, how long he would have lasted. How long for Russell knocks him off.
Yeah, because Russell would have just got rid of him, probably.
Russell has an ego problem. You'll see that come even bigger next season. Like, his ego gets even more massive because he thinks he came out of the season winning.
Yeah.
Before he plays on Heroes vs. Villains, because I think that season's only shot like 3 weeks later. So he has no idea he's lost Samoa. He thinks he's won Samoa. He thinks he came out of that final tribal where everyone talked to him the way he did, and he thought he won still.
Yeah.
Like, his ego is massive. And that's why at the Samoa reunion, he's basically crying. You see the tears in his eyes. His eyes are all watered up.
He's like broken
from losing. Yeah. Because he already knew he lost Heroes vs. Villains. So he's like, this was my one chance.
Right.
And he didn't win. Yeah.
Crazy.
So, unfortunately, a lot of the notes I took are very Russell focused, but we will try to remember.
Because the whole season is Russell focused.
Well, I tried to take notes about other people. Right away on Galoo, Shambo hates everyone.
Does she?
She hates. I mean, that was my first note about Shambo. I'm like, Shambo hates her.
Well,
she doesn't like her tribe.
I remember she doesn't really like her tribe because they didn't really like her. She didn't fit in with her tribe.
And they would do yoga, and she's like, oh, all these 90210 Beverly Hills people. Yeah.
She didn't fit in. She didn't understand them. They didn't understand her.
Yep.
It's unfortunate.
They did not appreciate the Shambo.
No.
I could see why, though. There's even a secret scene where Shambo tries licking Eric in his ear hole. I mean, like, that should have been left in the show so people really... But, I mean, they already made Shambo...
She's already a character.
Look like a nut. I don't know if
they didn't need any more content. I don't think.
And if you watch my Survivor Samoa Secrets video, you can watch that secret scene if you don't already have the DVD. But yeah, Shambo tries to lick Eric's ear hole, and he's like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Why are you saying ear hole? Just say ear.
No, it wasn't his ear. She was going for the hole in his ear.
Canal?
It's even worse.
I don't know.
Yeah, the canal where
I'm
you
just
hear.
saying ear hole sounds weird.
Well, that's what she was going for, man. It was weird.
Was she drunk? Never mind. We can move on.
I don't know. It was episode 8, if I recall. So if they had a merge feast, then it's possible.
Yes, and they were all drinking. Episode 8 is the merge.
It's possible that could have been part of it. So
okay,
it's nighttime. I think it's night 1. Russell does multiple things here. Number 1, Hurricane Katrina.
Yes.
What do you think about his? I mean, what a touching story. He had the axe and the dog and the hurricane.
Yeah, he was on the roof for like 3 days.
Oh.
Which he probably would have been very...
What a hero.
Dead with no water and no place...
What a hero.
But yeah, Russell, he's a hero.
And of course, even though people do go awe and believe his story, because what kind of insane man tells this story on night 1...
Oh, I wouldn't believe it.
To gain,
I don't know.
Well, so I know, but
that.
I forgot. I think it was. Unfortunately, I think I didn't. Oh no, this is right after Hurricane Katrina story. I wrote Betsy and Marisa both suss him right away.
Yeah,
they're both like. One of them was like, "Well, the story could have been true. I don't know, but either way, he's clearly telling it to us to manipulate us." Yeah. So Russell is being too obvious, even though his plan is really funny. It probably would have worked better had he told it maybe in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah.
And manipulated one person with it.
Sure.
Whereas when you're doing it to a group, it does look more suspicious.
Well, and also I guess it's okay if it's in a group, if it had come up naturally, which I don't know the conversation that had happened before and after.
There's no lead in that we saw.
It's not like, hey, let's go, I'll tell the worst stories of our life right now. Like, I'm sure Russell just, there was this one time, and just kind of like threw himself out there like he does. But my question about this whole first episode and the other things that he does, which I know we're about to talk about, is like, why does he do this now at the very beginning? The water, the socks.
He dumps the water and burns the socks, I think, that same night.
Yeah, because he wants to weaken his tribe, he says. But then he doesn't, why would you do that now at the beginning when you want your tribe to win so you don't go home versus after the merge? Because after the merge, I can see how you want to weaken your other competitors because now it's one-on-one. And he doesn't really do it after the first night, from what we're shown.
I think you're not supposed to be destroying other people's
property.
stuff.
Yeah, he should have got.
And I think he got away with it because the cameramen are not there to enforce the rules. They just record what's happening.
Sure.
So I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure a producer talked to him the next day. It told him, you cannot do this or we will have to kick you off. Something along those lines. Because it is against the rules to destroy other people's stuff.
I would hope so.
I'm surprised they didn't give Jason a replacement pair of socks. I don't know if he got one.
No, I don't think
This is stuff I tried looking up for the Secrets video and just couldn't find anything. It might be out there, but yeah, not a lot of people want to come back and talk about Samoa. Who would have guessed? Who would have thought?
I guess as I was watching it, I was just like, well, this makes no sense. Like sometimes some of the stuff he does make sense, but other times I'm like, why are you wanting to
the psychological warfare against your own tribe?
Yeah, against your own tribe on day one. Mm-hmm. When you haven't even, you just lost a challenge. Like, you don't want to weaken your tribe yet. And I was hoping, maybe he figured out, but you're right. It was probably just like, hey, you can't do this. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, Russell would have kept doing this, I think.
Right. And then people would have been like dehydrated. I mean, people are already dehydrated, but people could have like got sick and gone
In Russell's
home.
ideal world, all of Foa quits the game and he goes to merge by himself.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, what else is his plan here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Foa going to the merge down 4-8, partially on Russell. Mm-hmm. Causing havoc on your own tribe.
I think
He's
so.
just a plague to his own tribe.
Yeah.
So I don't want this to be as long as the Gabon breakdown, which is like 2.5 hours. So we will try to move along here, but there's definitely a juxtaposition I feel like of good and evil. Russell between the Russells in this case, because like you'll cut from Russell Hance being completely evil to his tribe over to Russell Swan like doing his best to take care of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like makes you like Swan even more. Mm-hmm. It's hard not to.
And he might not have always made the right decisions, like the tarp versus the pillow, but he was genuinely thinking about his tribe and how to help them.
Yeah, so. Russell Swan's never like, how can I destroy my own tribe?
Right, no. That would be the last thought in his
mind. With my beautiful brain. Galoo wins immunity. Get used to that. And Marisa, I wrote threatens because that's how Russell defines it. Really, she's just like, she's talking to Russell, and she didn't go about this the right way. She shouldn't have said a word, frankly. When Marisa talks to him and says, I see you talking with other people. And he's like, yeah, it's Survivor. I talk with other people. But then he paints this as Marisa's like threatening him and his family.
Yeah.
Marisa came over and she told me blah, 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 telling us other people. And they're like, okay, I guess we'll vote off Marisa then. Yeah.
It didn't seem like anyone really cared. And it was the first vote.
He just painted a villain narrative.
And Russell
of this
was
girl.
being really dramatic. So like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get off one of the girls.
She was voicing her concern with who she thought she had an alliance with.
Yeah. I don't think there was. I mean, maybe she could have gone about it a little bit differently, but honestly, like she was going up against Russell. Like there was nothing she could have really said besides, "Oh yeah, Russell, you're great. Go ahead and talk to everyone that you want."
That's what Natalie did.
I know.
Hey,
but
someone figured it out. Stroke his ego.
I'm just saying.
So Marisa gets voted off, and Russell at Final Tribal Council will bring this up as if people care about the very first vote off of the season. Mm-hmm. He's like, I got out Marisa and Betsy. Nobody cares. No. They didn't make the merge. Like they're not here.
Right.
That's like when you go to Final Tribal, you need all your moves basically need to be in relation to post merge that people could have witnessed. So episode 2, Russell finds an idol with no clues, but he speaks about it as if no one's ever done this. Now, technically, Gary Hawkins, a.k.a. Gary Hogaboom, from Guatemala, found the idol there without a clue. Mm-hmm. You could argue that because Judd had the clue, and Judd told everyone it's definitely not on the ground, man, that Gary had a clue. But really, Gary didn't take that as the clue. He watched Judd as Judd was looking up in the air the whole time. Or no, Judd said it's definitely on the ground. Judd said it's on the ground. Then Judd was looking up in the trees, and Gary saw him looking up in the trees, and Gary's like, okay, it's not on the ground. Mm-hmm. And he found it without a clue. Right.
I mean, I think, sure, I guess, but I don't think Russell's like a huge Survivor fan and knows all the things that have
Russell
happened.
Didn't even know about Gary.
I bet he hadn't even really watched that much. I think he found out about the show and applied for it, honestly.
I wonder if he got, I bet you he may have even been recruited to some extent. I'm not saying he never watched Survivor. I'm sure he did, but I'm sure he didn't go back and watch the first 18 seasons because here in 2009, that's not feasible.
Yeah.
The seasons you could watch are whatever's on DVD, which was not season 11, or if the show, I know the show always gives them like a couple seasons to watch while they're doing their Like while they're on the island and they're there doing press and stuff, they get to watch some seasons in their rooms or whatever. So I'm sure they weren't giving them Guatemala. I'm sure they're giving like Pearl Islands, China, seasons they really liked.
So I'm sure he thought he was the only one in history survivor to do it. Yeah.
And like technically he's the second one, but also
it's still impressive.
It's impressive. Yeah, I'll give him that. It's still impressive. And people are just like watching him do it. They're just sitting there watching him do it.
They're all around him while he does it.
He just does it right in front of him. Only in this season could you get away with some nonsense like that.
True.
Because no later season imagine him on Survivor just going like in front of everybody doing it. Everybody would go out looking and being like watching you and see if you got it. Nobody would just be like, oh, okay, he's being ridiculous. Yep.
I guess.
So right before the reward challenge, which is Schmergen Ball, I forgot what it's called. It's the one where they're throwing balls at hoops and they run into each other like football, rugby.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I always mess up that name. Schmergen Brawl, and kill me. All right, so right before it, Mike Barassi of the Fo try is like, oh, somebody's getting hurt at this at this challenge. And as it turns out, it's Mike Barassi gets hurt and has to be pulled from the game because he's wildly out of shape. Now, fun fact for those listening, Mike Barassi was supposed to be in Tocantins. He was replaced by Spencer, who I believe was 18 years old. So much different than Mike Barassi for that tribe.
Right.
And the only reason he wasn't on Tocantins is because he had sleep apnea. And I guess they found out while he was in Tocantins, so they pulled him and replaced him. So he got surgery to fix his sleep apnea, only to be pulled in episode 2 of Samoa.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's a lot of money to invest, a lot of things to do to get on the show, only to hurt yourself. So, yeah, that's why I got Mike Barassi. During the challenge, we might as well talk about this guy, Ben.
Oh, Ben.
What an a-hole.
He's probably even worse than Russell in some aspects.
No, I think in all aspects. Russell, you know why Russell works? Because he's kind of like... Russell clearly has biases, don't get me wrong. Like he clearly favors the men over the women. He's constantly targeting the women. There's no way about it.
Yeah.
He's always targeting the women. And he calls them, the Dumb Girl Alliance with more expletives than that. So Russell is not good. I'm not saying that. But Ben is worse. Russell works because he gets his comeuppance and most of his stuff is contained within the game. Ben is clearly a terrible person at all times and doesn't care at all.
I think Russell also is a terrible person. We just didn't see it as much. Remember what he said to Natalie on the very last day? I mean,
I'll put you on the jury.
Yeah, I feel like he was doing more of that. Maybe it wasn't quite as obvious as Ben. But anyways, we're not here to like compare apples and oranges.
They're both bad, but Ben I think is worse. I mean, Ben is worse.
He's pretty terrible.
Yeah. Ben gets ejected out of this challenge though for right after Jeff says, "Hey, this is your last warning to everybody. If I see anything that's against the rules, you're getting kicked off." So Ben kicks Russell Swan like right in the shins.
Yeah.
What the heck, dude?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then pretends like he didn't break the rules.
Yeah, I don't
know.
Yeah,
kicking somebody in the shins as they're running away from me. That's fine. This guy.
I don't know.
Terrible. I think it's time to talk about Sierra's mom, aka Laura. For those who are not in the know, Laura comes back in season 27. She has a daughter named Sierra. If you don't know, you don't know. That's fine. I won't spoil it. But we will be referring to Laura as Sierra's mom on and off throughout this podcast. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, it's okay. You'll learn soon. Sierra's mom. That's how I know her. So she wins them reward. That's all I wrote down. But I think she wins them the fishing gear. And then Shambo almost immediately at their camp breaks the fishing equipment.
Yes.
Thanks, Shambo. Thanks.
And this is another reason why people don't like Shambo, I guess. Like how, I don't know.
And she's like, want to hear the good news or the bad news?
Yeah.
And they're like, what's the good news? She's like, good news is there's a bunch of fish in the ocean. Bad news is I broke the fishing gear.
Yeah.
Like, Shambo, that's not good news, bad news.
No, that's just bad news.
And then Sierra's mom's like, oh, Shambo told us good news. There's fish in the ocean. Like, no kidding, Shambo.
I think Shambo's actual words were, I saw a bunch of fish over in this spot. Like, there's, she was trying to be positive about it.
No.
Because there are seasons that we've seen where, like, people go fishing, they don't see anything. They're like, why are there no fish here?
Yeah, in this case, it would have been good news. Good news, I caught 4 fish. Bad news is I also broke the fishing equipment. It's like, that would have been good news, bad news. Good news is not, oh, there's fish out there. because the bad news negates that. Like, okay, but now we can't do anything about it, you jerk. You should have told us there was no fish. That would have been good news. Good news is I didn't see any fish out there at all.
You're right. I mean, we have seen other seasons where people break or lose or whatever the fishing equipment. So I'm not saying, but yeah, you just got to be careful with stuff like that.
Remember in Pearl Islands when somebody broke one of Rupert's spears?
That's what I was thinking.
And he was like, and then he goes out and finds it. He's like, where'd you find it? In the ocean. All right. So this is, I think, because Galoo wins reward, they get to send Yasmin over to Foa, and Yasmin goes over to Foa, and she's like, hey guys, let me help you with your strategy because you're a bunch of idiots. She just goes over there.
Yeah, this was pretty bad too.
This was terrible. And then you mix her and Ben because Ben is racist and Yasmin ain't having any of his crap. And she's already coming over there like with intentions of telling Foa how to play this game. Like it's episode 2, right? Yasmin's not even been to a tribal council. What does she know?
Yeah.
She hasn't even had Survivor Tribal yet. She hasn't done anything.
Well, she's talking about challenges. She's like, well, I'm tired of beating you all in challenges.
Yeah.
Y'all need to work together and yada, yada, yada. Which is that's still not something you can say to your competitor.
Nobody should be hitting me during the challenge where we're supposed to hate each other.
Well, to be fair on her, like, to be fair on her.
Yeah, to be fair to her.
Good for her pulling Ben aside and saying, hey, you know, this was a cheap shot. I don't appreciate it. Please, you know, just watch yourself in the future because that's how you should handle it.
I guess she didn't know Ben's an idiot.
No, I guess she didn't know Ben's an idiot and that wasn't going to work at all.
No.
And she should have just, once he started acting like that, just walked away because there's nothing worth arguing with an idiot about over and over again. So, but yeah, I don't like, just take a note. If you're up and you're winning and you get sent over to the other tribe, just try to make friends like Shambo does.
I mean, in China, when they sent them over, it's all anyone did.
Right.
They've done this before and it worked.
They're already down. Don't kick them while they're down. You're just making enemies with people you would hope to work with later, probably.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen in the game. So always be nice.
I think this wouldn't be an issue in Modern Survivor. Nobody's going to do this in Modern Survivor. Modern
Probably
Survivor,
not.
people are on top of their game. But here, in this era, when they used to cast more characters and people who weren't as familiar with the game.
Yeah, true.
That's how you get stuff like this. That's how you get the drama.
Right.
Really, I just want to sum up Ben's stuff with Ben is terrible and racist. I don't really want to get into details on it because it's not a week-by-week podcast of the show.
Yeah.
But I will say that he does... is it at Tribal Council he calls Yasmin ghetto trash?
No, he called it to her face and then also at Tribal Council.
Yeah. That's basically all you need to know. So Betsy gets voted off because she basically... threatened Russell.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a stretch, but she did. But, you know, also Russell. All right, so episode 3. Russell talks to Natalie and says he is the only one playing this game. He has this brilliant brain. Episode 3, Russell's already like, my brilliant brain, like pumping his ego up to the max. It's like day 7. He's been there 1 week.
Yeah, he thinks he's all that.
He just says this right to Natalie.
I know.
Yeah.
Poor Natalie. I mean, she had to deal with him this
Good for
entire
her.
time.
The patience of a saint. I bet you whoever she married is like, I married an angel.
Well, sure, they brought $1 million to.
No, she wasn't even married. She wasn't married here.
I know. I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, she came into the marriage with money.
Yes.
But I'm saying like just.
But yeah, she is super patient. She's super sweet.
If she could put up with Russell for 39 days and doesn't crack, like patience of a saint.
True.
Even when at the end he's like harassing her and trying to berate her and like that's not gonna get you second place. You know. Yeah. Shambo is annoyed that Sierra's mom is doing yoga. This is where she calls them all 90210.
Yeah.
But namely Sierra's mom because she is hung up on. She does not like Sierra's mom. I wonder, I don't know exactly why it was her out of all the people on the tribe.
Because Laura basically was the female leader. Like everyone liked her. Everyone was talking to her. She had, what was it, Kelly and
Monica.
They were like BFFs. And yeah, they were like the little cheerleader clique. And poor Shambo's out on the... Shambo was just jealous, honestly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And was insecure about herself, which we know... I mean, that's my psychological opinion.
I mean, Shambo's jealous of Russell Swan. He's super nice, too.
Right.
So
Shambo wants to be the leader. She wants to be kind of in charge. She wants to be appreciated, and no one likes her. No one appreciates her. But people like and appreciate Laura, who in Shambo's mind has done nothing. I mean, she's not a retired Marine.
Yeah, like resume is what gets you this job or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I can see why it happened.
I would sooner follow Swan or Sierra's mom than follow Shambo if I was on the island. Like, if I'm thinking about it factually, like, I don't see Shambo's leading me or the tribe successfully. That's why it's almost like later when they do elect her, it's like, just put a target on her back. And also to appease her a little bit.
Well, that was the point, yeah.
Yeah. So, we then see Russell talking about his... By the way, this is something that's been going on Survivor for a long time, but here Russell explains in such a way people don't forget it. Russell explains how to plant Russell seeds. Mm-hmm. This happens all throughout Survivor, though. Like, where you talk about something to get it into somebody's brain, to get them thinking about it. Maybe something they weren't thinking about before. But Russell does such a great job here of explaining it with his ridiculous Russell seeds that I had to write it down because I
feel like he isn't actually that good at planting seeds, though. He's just like, bam, this is what I want.
Needs to happen today. The tree needs to grow today. Yeah. But I want to point out he talks about here, so he knows about it.
Sure.
But then later in the season, people take it when people realize they can do that back to him, namely Monica. How it can, like, people will plant seeds in Russell's brain, and mess with him and get him mad.
Yeah.
So Russell acknowledges it, but he doesn't know how to stop it.
Yeah, I think he is kind of an emotional player, and he does have some good strategy moves, but I think overall he has no finesse. I mean, we know that. So he doesn't know when people are doing it back to him, or he didn't at first. I don't think people were doing it as much until the later game anyway, so maybe he didn't have enough time to analyze.
So we see Ashley talk to Natalie for comfort. Even though Ashley doesn't make the jury, this is just one of those things where it's like, if Natalie's being approached for comfort, you never see anyone approach Russell for comfort.
No.
Who's coming to Russell for, please make me feel better about myself or have a good day?
Yeah.
After Ben is a jerk, she tells her she will leave Natalie her stuff. Just the few times we get anything of Natalie seems to be like Natalie's people's friends. People like talking to Natalie. People connect to Natalie.
Right.
So Russell Swan then has to pick between pillows or tarp when their tribe wins, I believe, immunity. And he picks the pillows, which is obviously the on paper bad decision.
Yeah.
Because all of the women are visibly excited about that when Jeff reveals those. So I get why he did it. I would still pick the tarp.
Yeah.
I've seen enough Survivor to know that's a bad choice.
We have seen enough. Maybe he hadn't, or maybe he wasn't thinking, but...
To be fair, Russell Swan may have never seen the show, because when he goes back and plays again, he thinks the leadership thing happens every season, and it doesn't.
Oh.
So Russell Swan may not have seen any Survivor. I don't know for sure. We'll never know unless...
Never know.
You know, unless he's talked about it. He has a YouTube channel, by the way, where he... actually is on he's gone on a journey basically from not at all. He wants to be a pilot, and I think at this point he's like to the point where he's already licensed. He's like doing solo flights and everything. So
cool. Pretty
cool. It's like called Russell Can Fly on YouTube. He's the same person there as was in the show. He's his energy level and everything. Like he is not at all. He didn't put on a show for the show, is what I'm saying. He is Russell.
Yeah.
So he does pick the pillows. Bad mistake. Shambo goes to Fofo and calls Mick Dreamy.
Well, she has like a little nickname for everybody.
But Mick Dreamy was my favorite one.
Because he's a doctor.
She's like, over on our tribe, we call you Mick Dreamy. Like, whoa. Shambo's coming on strong. Is Shambo single?
Don't know.
I don't know either. I can't say for either way. I want to say Shambo here, though. With the way she's flirting with everybody, I sure hope she's single. Otherwise, her husband's like, why is she calling him Mick Dreamy?
Because it's Shambo. I would hope if she was used to it. Married at this point, he would just be used to it.
She's just kind of a nut. Jason wants to vote off Ben because Jason got really upset at the previous tribal, though Jason incredibly does not show that. I mean, he's not a very emotional person.
Well, good self-control, I think. And also he knows, I feel like he knows if he did get into it,
it wouldn't do anything positive.
Yeah, like I said, there's just no point in arguing with Ben because he's an idiot. And also, I think Jason was just trying to keep himself under control and not probably let what he was really feeling come out, and then he'd be the one that gets in trouble.
Jason, I feel like, starts the season strong as a character. And by the second half, it's like, who's Jason again? He kind of drifts. Like, he's such a big character here in the first half of the season.
I felt like he was a big character also at the end.
I didn't think so, but that's okay. All right, so basically he does get his way though. Ben's voted off. I think it's the first person of the first three people. The Russell's like, oh, I didn't want to vote you off.
Yeah.
About Ben. the guy who's been openly horrible. So,
well, he said, and this is a good strategy. He wanted to keep him around because he was a massive target.
Yeah, but I think
everyone hated
he got
him.
along with Ben.
But, yeah.
All right, episode 4, we get a no Jeff challenge.
Yeah, that was weird.
Which I think it's the only one they do this season, right? I don't think they did it a second time.
This is the one with the chickens, right?
Yeah, it's the one with chickens. So
I don't think they did it any.
They do it once this season. They won't bring this back again till once again, these podcasts, I will not spoil any future seasons in terms of results or anything like that. But they do bring back the no Jeff challenge, I believe 2 times on season 24. I don't know why they did. It was a 5-season gap, and I get why they did it once here, like an experiment, see how it went. Maybe.
I feel like they did it one other time because this time they it
was kind of a surprise.
They did like a random rush and they grabbed stuff and like, oh wait, no. And then another time they knew that, we just have to go and read the boxer. Oh no, I'm thinking of the merge. I'm thinking of the merge.
No, they didn't do 2 challenges this season. It was just 1. I believe they do 2 more in one world.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they brought it back. So I'm trying to say, because here it's like, I guess for like the one time,
it was just like awkward.
It was weird. Yeah. They tried, but I think what they were trying to do is they had, if you noticed during the challenge, they had the players who were in the challenge, like in confessionals, narrate what was happening.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to see if that would if that could be a thing, or if that would, people complain about Jeff talking throughout the whole challenges. Maybe they were trying out, what if Jeff wasn't there?
Maybe Jeff was massively sick and they had to still go ahead.
I wonder. That's not a bad idea. Some people theorize it's because, this is a terrible theory. They're like, Jeff was doing his talk show, but his talk show wasn't for like another 3 or 4 years. And why would he have left Samoa to go do his talk show for?
Yeah, no, I don't see that.
No, it doesn't make sense. I don't know exactly the reason. This is why, as of the time of recording this, Jeff has his own podcast, just in case in the future that he no longer is doing it. And I'm hoping Jeff, this is something I would like to hear from Jeff. Why did they do this? Where was Jeff? Was he on the sidelines in covered in a ghillie suit watching them? You know what I mean? So it's basically horseshoes, the challenge. And I didn't even write down who won. I think, because Galoo won, because Galoo wins everything. Danger Dave won, remember?
Yeah, and Shambo takes care of the chickens.
And he gets the chickens from this, which will come up to a thing later. Eric finds the Galoo idol.
Yes.
Which I believe he does with clues, because otherwise that would be the same thing that Russell did. I didn't write down that, but I'm pretty sure he had. I think
he had at least 1 clue.
Yeah.
Or 2.
Yeah. So Russell says he needs to go to the final 2 with Natalie, not Jason. Very prophetic. I don't know if Russell beats Jason at the end either, though, to be fair. I know when they talked about it during the reunion, they're like, oh, what if you went to the end with Shambo and Jason? I don't know if that would. I don't know if Jason loses to. Bates. I don't know if Russell beats Jason. The jury
said 4 people would have voted for Russell, and only like 2 people would have voted.
But not even the whole jury voted. Like Natalie didn't raise her hand for anybody.
She did a half one for Russell.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
See, that's a thing. I don't know, and that's after they watch the whole show and they've seen people's response. That it's not on the island. It's hard to take that vote seriously.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know if Jason loses to Russell. I think Jason could at Final Tribal come across, hopefully not like Mick, and hopefully not like Russell. If Jason sits next to Mick and Russell instead of Natalie, does that make a difference? Like if Russell actually went through with the whole we need strong people to try to beat Brett.
Yeah.
Does Jason win? I think there's a good likelihood. Technically, I know going into Final Tribal, Mick was supposed to be apparently he was the favorite, but then at Final Tribal he just says how great of a guy he is, shows that he doesn't know anything about Brett. Yeah. They're like, oh, Mick's just kind of a nobody. Mick's just here. He's just present, and he thinks he's a great guy.
I'm afraid that Jason would have been the same as Mick. In as far as he didn't do a lot of strategy. He's nice and everything, but what did he do?
But I'm saying if Jason could have come across as legit nice, like Natalie at Final Tribal,
sure,
I think that could have made a world of difference. Again, sitting next to 2 people who are either A, hated by the jury, which is Russell, or B, Mick, who is making him, oh yeah, I'm a great guy, I'm a stand-up, dude, shut up.
Could be. I don't know.
We don't know without seeing it, but I'm saying the possibilities there, or let's say Jason does go the Mick route and says how amazing of a guy he is. Do they pick Russell then? Because at least he actually did something amongst these 3 people who all think they're amazing. So, yeah. Russell says he needs to go final 2 with Natalie because he views her as a goat. is really what it is. Natalie says she wants to go to the end with Russell thinking she's a goat. She's like, yeah, I'll be a goat. Mm-hmm. She basically, I mean, she doesn't say the word goat, but that's the way she described herself.
Right.
She's like, that's fine.
Well, I think even here she knows that Russell's going to, make people so mad. And if she can just get to the end, I don't know, but that's her strategy, and that's what she did, and it worked out. So.
I don't know if this is a perfect analogy, but it's kind of like if you're on a football team, especially high school, this is how it goes. And you got that one superstar player, like a running back. Mm-hmm. Let's say in this case, let's say Natalie's the running back and Russell's the quarterback. Because that's what Russell will describe himself later in a later season. He's the quarterback. And Russell single-handedly, as the quarterback, gets them all the way to the championship. And I feel like, in a way, gets injured at some point.
Okay.
Or I don't know. That's not really a good analogy because it's a team effort in that case. It needs to be an individual effort. And so, but I mean, Russell, basically she sees Russell as her meal ticket. Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah. That's what happened.
Good. She did. She saw these women getting targeted. Mm-hmm. Especially Sherry knows at this point Ashley is being targeted.
Yes.
So she sees Marisa, Betsy, and Ashley being targeted. She'll talk about this later. She's like, I just need to be on his good side. Mm-hmm. I'll be his goat. Who cares? Mm-hmm. And you know what? We'll see how it goes at the merge.
Right.
Really. So Shambo lets the chickens escape and Eric gets clotheslined.
Mm-hmm. That was a fun scene.
I wish they'd replayed it. It just kind of happens.
It happens in the preview and then it happened in the actual episode also, which is funny.
I wish they had slow-moed it. I don't know if they could have. I don't know why I wrote this, but the stacking blocks challenge is cool. It must have been cool for me to write that.
I think you said it would be fun if they did it in Modern Survivor.
Oh, yeah. This is the one where you have to get on the shoulders of the people. Yes.
And it starts with like bigger blocks, then goes to smaller.
Yeah. Maybe it's a safety hazard in case you drop the person and they land on their head.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think like why they wouldn't have done this. Because this one is like, it's a team effort. It's kind of cool. In that sense, like it seems like something that would do in Modern Survivor, but they haven't done. I get why Schmurgish Brawl hasn't been brought back, or Schmurgen Brawl, whatever it's called, because literally both times they do it, people get injured. Next season, Mary, somebody will get injured as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough one.
Yeah, there's like no pads or anything. You're just like just slam into each other.
Yeah,
I think the rule for that one should have been you can smack the ball out of each other's hands, but you can't like ram. You can't like tackle each other.
Sure. Well,
more like basketball in that sense.
I guess there's a lot of older Survivor challenges that are pretty physical.
Oh, I know. I remember Guatemala, and they were like that huge boulder. They were just ramming into each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were very physical back then. So long story short, Glue actually loses a challenge, shockingly, and Yasmin's voted out over Monica. So we go to episode 5, we get the gross food competition, which I actually really like this version where they put their balls in like a roulette thing, or a crap. I don't know what it's called. It's just like something you see in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then there's an option for Jeff's choice. And it happens, I think, twice. And Jeff's like super excited.
Yes.
Because he's like, I'm going to make this as terrible as possible.
Yeah.
Somebody told me they don't do these anymore because apparently because they do delicacies of the place that they're in, it's offensive, I guess. I don't know. Can they rename it to I guess they renamed it though and rebranded it. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I mean, I never really liked the gross food challenge. It just makes me sick, kind of. But if they wanted to do it, all they have to do is be like, they don't have to say it's a delicacy of the people. They can just say, because I'm sure.
Just get gross food.
Yeah, just get gross food. Like, you can still just do like raw octopus,
crickets,
whatever, and do it. And just because it's a delicacy for some people doesn't mean they eat it raw, done up in a smoothie with water.
Yeah, they're not doing smoothies with milk and everything else. So
it's still gross.
I think they could bring this back. So Ashley loses it for Foa because Foa can't catch a break. I mean, they won that one challenge last episode. That's about it so far. Shambo is so annoyed because they're getting a nice food reward.
Yes.
When Swan sends her over to Foa. But like Shambo has no pull in their tribe, and so I get why he does it. Like you're annoying one person versus annoying potentially somebody who has influence in the tribe. Shambo's no influence in the tribe.
I didn't really like his reasoning of this is payback for the fishing, but I get it. If you feel like everyone's pulling your weight and she's only being a detriment, you want to make sure the whole team is getting fed and not the screw up. I
think he was just finding an excuse for what he really wanted to do anyways.
Right.
That's why I said Swan's not perfect, but I do like him.
Well, no.
Dave is being an idiot and a know-it-all about fire. He's like, that's not how you make a fire. That's blah, blah, blah. Well, come over here and make the fire then, Dave. no, I need to be asked to make the fire.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I just told you, come over and make the, like, Swan's like, we don't need to have the ego contest. Just come over here and just do it.
Yeah.
Dave's like, no, I need to be asked to do it. Oh. And he's like, he already told you to come over and do it, dude.
Right.
Like,
Dave is annoying.
Dave is annoying. Yes. I know Dave has a couple of funny one-liners, but this like know-it-all attitude, we see this other times at Survivor. It's just like, shut up and just do it then. Mm-hmm. Or if you're going to say you can do it, then back it up and do it. But like, don't talk about how you can do it and then you don't do it.
Right.
Remember, I think the first instance of this was in season 5 where Sheehan's like, I could have done that puzzle and won it for us, but nobody asked me to. Like, bro, this is for immunity. So anyways, there's so much rain this episode.
Yeah, this was miserable to watch.
I mean, it went on for, and I think it was
like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, it's like this episode. The next one is a lot in a row.
Yeah,
and they don't have tarp because they pick pillows.
They're all like cuddled around trees. Oh man, it looks so bad.
For us though, it's amazing. I'm glad they didn't have tarp.
No, I feel so bad.
For audience pleasure, it works.
I just feel miserable for them.
Good. That was the idea. Liz calls out Russell for lying and has the idol. Oh, she thinks he has the idol. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. She's like, Russell, I think I know you have the idol. Ashley still voted off though.
Yeah.
Here, but that just puts Liz. Now Liz is number 1. You cannot come after Russell unless you have people behind you. You can't come after him by yourself.
Yeah.
You need to have people on your side, like ready to vote for him. And even then, why would you? What's the point of saying this for Liz? Like, there's what's the idea? Russell, I know you have the idol. Russell's like, oh, you're right, Liz. Let's work together.
Right.
Like, you've been with him for 5 episodes now. You gotta know it's not how this dude works.
Right.
I don't know. That's my thought. So, episode 6 seems to be I feel like at this point it's kind of like inevitable what's going to happen. Episode 6 is still raining. Oh, episode 6 is the big one. That's why my notes for this one are kind of small. It's still raining. Swan's out there overworking in the rain to make sure the fire's still going. People are like, wow, what a beast. Both tribes are told they're going to tribal, and the winning tribe will get to eat while the losing tribe is doing their tribal council. So while both are going, they've done this a few times. Remember they did this in Palau. I think they did this in Vanuatu. I know they did in Palau, at least in Guatemala. But yeah, so that doesn't matter though, because this is the episode where Russell Swan passes out.
Right.
And heck, at the reunion, he's like, I didn't even know I was passing out. I felt really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think about this moment, Mary?
Well, scary, and I didn't like it. I didn't like that Russell had to go home, and he was so sad.
And by Russell, we mean Swan, obviously, for those casually listening.
And he was just like crying, and Jeff's telling him he has to go home. I just felt so bad for him. It's awful. And then like it almost doesn't matter because there's no tribal.
Yeah.
And it just felt like
nobody gets a reward.
It was just a big bummer episode.
Yeah. I wish they'd at least let both tribes get the reward.
Yeah, they could have. Well, they could have still gone to tribal. I don't know.
No, I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, I'm just glad they didn't have like both tribes. Both tribes did go to tribal, but he just told them that Swan left.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, but nobody can have pizza or whatever.
Well, no, because that's like, oh no, Swan left, but here's a celebration food.
Yeah,
for
I
you.
guess maybe wrong timing.
I don't know. It felt like bad timing.
Yeah, bad timing, huh? Yeah. So very unfortunate. I like Swan. He does get another chance though. Season 25, they bring him back. So it kind of makes it less of a bummer because you know he gets to come back. Mm-hmm. But at the time, not knowing that, I'd be like, yeah, he's not even on Heroes versus Villains. So you just like, will he get a second chance? Because all he did was work his heart out. Like he didn't do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. So episode 7, Russell, his ego just keeps inflating. He's like, I'm too good for this game. And later he'll even be like, I need to be with superstars, not these scrubs, you know.
Yeah.
Russell. I wonder when they asked him to be on Heroes versus Villains. I wonder if it was during the season.
Maybe that's why he was thinking, oh, I'm going to be with these other returning players.
That's what people suspected. When he says like episode, I think it's like episode, one of the last 2 episodes, he says he wants to be with superstars. And people are like, is that when they asked him if he wants to be on Heroes versus Villains? It was literally the finale I wrote. Russell says you should be there, superstars. I wonder if that's when they asked him. Like, hey, like we're going to do a returnee season with all returnees. Do you want to? Would you be on it? Because they have to plan this stuff out. They can't just So I wonder if that's when he was asked. And they're like, all right, well, let's get a confessional lead into that one. So he's too good for this game. The glue men decide that with Swan gone, they'll elect Shambo to be on their side. So in a very quick manner, they just like have a quick vote. And Sierra's mom's like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm. Well, they did this because they were getting tired of Laura and her clique, and they didn't want a woman power. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to bring Shambo over to this side. This was really smart on their part, I think.
Not a bad choice.
No. And so they put Shambo in power. She feels good with them. She gets to get her angst out on the women, and the women are not going to band together with Shambo to get the men out. Mm-hmm. So it was a smart decision. It worked out for them to an extent, until the merge.
Well, I think they were hoping come the merge, this would help solidify Shambo being on their side too.
Yes. Because they knew at this point that the women were just driving Shambo away.
Yeah. Yeah. Sierra's mom then gets sent over to Fofo by Shambo. And it's just like, it's on between these two. At this point, now it's on. Mm-hmm. Their little rivalry. So Russell, he starts clarifying. I don't know why I wrote that. That can't be right.
Russell wants Laura and Natalie in the final 3, and he promises this to Laura on her visit.
This is before... Who the heck... At this point, he can't be talking. He's not talking to Laura. Ignore my note there. Yeah,
because Laura went over.
Oh, my gosh. He promised this when she came over? Why is he promising everyone final 3? I'm like trying to figure out how on God's green earth is he promising Laura this? Duh, she just went over to Foa.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Why would he do that? That's why I wrote this down.
Because he saw Laura and Natalie bonding. Goats. And so he's like, oh, here's another dumb girl I can take along.
Yeah, even though Laura's like in her 40s and she's not dumb.
Yes.
He needed he didn't need dumb, he needed naive. Maybe that's what he meant, but he needed naive to be taken to the end. And there was no one truly like super naive like he was thinking, because he's being generalized.
Right, because he's sexist. He thinks the men are better players.
Yeah.
He thinks the women are not good players. Yeah. Because all he thinks about is like the challenges and voting people off. And he doesn't assume a girl can vote a guy off. Yeah. And
at this point in Survivor history, women have won like, I don't want to say half of the season so far, but a good chunk. I mean.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think through how many seasons have women won. Women won season 2, 4,
don't
6.
Spoil it.
8. I'm not saying who. 8. No, I'm not spoiling any future seasons. Past seasons are fair game.
Oh, okay.
8. Not 9 or 10. 11. 16. So they've won 7 of the first 18 seasons. So not quite half.
Right.
But I mean, women are not like just, I don't know, just sexist.
Yeah. I do like how often we see, okay, so Russell's like, go, strategy, Laura, I'm going to take you final 2, versus then we see Natalie and Laura just talking and having a connection. Yeah. And it's just crazy how much of a difference that will make.
This is the first time I think this is our first jury vote, because she connected with Ashley earlier. Ashley doesn't make the jury. So at the end of the game, it doesn't really matter if her and Ashley got close. Here's Laura. Here's Natalie and Laura connecting. Laura will vote for Natalie at the end.
Yeah.
So, and they have their connection over their, I believe it's Christianity is what they both are. They're both Christians. Mm-hmm. So they're both connecting over that, and it's real. Like, it's not, Natalie's not faking it to make a connection like Hurricane Katrina or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not saying that's the end all be all for why Laura picks her, but this is stuff we are shown. We're juxtaposition between Russell's crazy strategy to this.
We also hear Liz saying, man, I just can't believe Natalie's just over there talking to this person who doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And I'm over here building the fire by myself.
Yeah.
And I understand being annoyed by that. But again, that's where your mindset is, versus Natalie's mindset is to make as many friends as possible and to be as nice as possible so people like me when I get to the end. And that ends up being more important because Liz goes home that night because she's more concerned about the fire than about making friends and talking to people.
Liz threatened Russell an episode or 2 ago.
That's what I mean, though. Yeah. Like, Liz is not concerned about making friends at this point.
Yeah.
And to her, that's not important.
Also, it's episode 7. Like, this is not like day 1. Like, the fire can be made by anybody. Who cares?
Right.
It should be an easy peasy, like, make the fire and shut up.
Or just ask, be like, hey, I need help with the fire.
Like, it's not day 1 where it's like, oh no, we haven't had any fire yet. We need to make this thing. Right. Like, just make the fire. All right. So we then cut to Russell saying, I need to manipulate Natalie's little mind. He says little mind. I did not, that's not me filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
Her little mind. Russell needs to manipulate it. Oh boy. Liz is voted off this episode. So that's our entire pre-merge discussion. Holy crap. I was trying to keep this shorter. All the good stuff is in the post-merge. So episode 8, we merge. we'll try to go. Foa. I'm going to track this each episode. They're now down 4-8. Mm-hmm. Shambo is not on their side officially by any means.
Right.
So they are down 4-8. This is a huge episode. You mentioned earlier for Natalie. Mm-hmm. So we see Natalie making friends with Dave.
Yep.
Another jury vote for her later. Sierra's mom takes Natalie under her wing, which we just saw him connect in the last episode, so that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Eric says Foa is on day 2 of this game, and he's on day 19.
Oh, man.
Oh, I mean, I kind of like Eric, but like, come on, man.
Yeah, he had a little arrogance going into it. No, I get his point of view where he's just like, they just lose and I just win. But at the same time, they have been to tribal council, and people underestimate, like, how much that makes you think about and play this game hard when you've been there on the block night after night and you're still here.
You see how this goes, like how people talk to each other before tribal.
Right.
A lot more experience underneath Foa's belt than under Galoo's. Galoo's been to one tribal, and it's when they vote off Yasmin, which is probably one of the easiest votes of the season because Yasmin was just ready to go, basically. Right. I mean, there's no other way to put it. She was not good for their tribe. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just not at all prepared. Galoo is not at all united by any means. They're not. They should be a united front. This should have been. Galoo should have been like, hey, let's get rid of the 4 Foa. Then it's, we'll free for all on each other. Mm-hmm. And at worst, they let one Foa survive that because they decided to turn and won too early. But like Foa should have been almost all eliminated.
Right.
I'm glad they didn't. It makes for a more enjoyable season.
Sure.
But yeah, they should have. So. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just say Russell then promises Monica that
Sierra's mom.
Sorry, Sierra's mom,
which is Laura. You're gonna confuse people. It's not Monica.
I know. I was reading the wrong note. Russell promises Sierra's mom, his idol, if he makes it to the top 7, and he shows it to her. He shows it to her. Yeah.
And he tries to boss her about it.
Right. And then he also does it to Monica.
Yes.
And then he also does it to John. Yes.
I wrote down, I'm like, I cannot believe 3 times in a row he's promising people. He not only shows them the idol, which I don't care what season you're on, it's a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you can find him without clues. That is a horrible idea. Right. Russell just likes showing off.
Yes.
Shows all these people his idol. He's like, you can use the idol too. We'll share the idol. Mm-hmm. What? And then people are going to talk to each other, Russell.
Right.
They all came from the same tribe. They know each other. They're going to talk to each other.
And especially it's not Fofo. Like if he kept it a secret up until this point and then was like, hey guys, I know we're down 4-8, but I've got this idol and let's try and work together. That would have been okay. But no, he goes over to Galoo, all these new people he doesn't really know, he hasn't really talked to that much, except for Sierra's mom, maybe a little bit.
Shambo.
And Shambo. But no, he talks to Sierra's mom, he talks to Monica, and he talks to John. And it's just like, why?
Absolutely horrendous gameplay here by Russell. So he does compare himself right after that to Babe Ruth, though, just in case you're wondering about how horrible he thinks he's playing. He's not.
Right.
He's apparently Babe Ruth of Survivor.
Well, yeah, because he said Babe Ruth did so many. What is it?
Home runs. Well, always swung for the fences.
His batting average. He's like he missed how many ever hundreds of balls, but then he hit how many ever hundreds of home runs. So
look how many home runs he hit. It's all he's remembered for.
Right. Exactly.
And it's like, to be fair, Russell is playing like that, but. Oh, brother. So Sierra's mom wins immunity, and John and Eric are talking about voting off Monica. Mm-hmm. So right away, we see Galoo's ready to turn on each other, even without Fofo helping.
True.
But Natalie snitches on Eric saying this about wanting to vote off Monica to Sierra's mom, because as you said, Sierra's mom is running the women on Galoo. And that's pretty much what's needed to make this happen. Everyone's on board. Russell plays his idol nonsensically, because... Because, I mean, people were thinking about it, but they were like, let's get rid of Eric. He's already ready to turn on us.
Or sorry, because Galoo was ready to vote out Eric.
Mind you, John was ready to turn as well, but he didn't get snitched on.
Right. Everybody was... This was really well done. I don't remember all the details.
Huge on Natalie.
But I just remember this was really well done by Natalie. She orchestrated the whole thing, and she got Eric out. And Eric was the leader of Galoo at this point. And he was trying to keep them unified against Fofo to an extent. I don't remember why they wanted Monica out, but
it doesn't really matter.
But just the way Natalie approaches it, like she goes and lays down next to Sierra's mom, and she's like, I just really don't trust Eric because I heard this, and have you heard this? And just like
very tactful.
Very tactful.
Tactful, yeah, that's the word. And that's the thing. Like, who gets the R2 votes? Is it Russell gets the R2 votes this episode?
I don't think so. I think it's Monica.
No, Jason gets the 2 votes. Let's say Natalie hadn't done this, right? Let's say Galoo voted as United Front. They were probably going to vote out Jason.
Sure.
Russell still would have burned his idol.
Yeah.
and Jason would have been gone.
Because they knew Russell had it, and they wanted to get rid of it. But anyways,
Yeah. Idiot. Just terrible gameplay this episode. Russell quickly fixes that, though, I will say, about telling everyone about his idol. So we go into episode 9. Fofo is down 4-7. And Mary, this is Natalie's big survivor moment.
Rattly.
Can you explain what Rattly does here?
She kills a rat with a stick. And it was crazy.
She's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's like, oh, eat your snack. Oh, my word.
Like this horrendous thing. Like, oh, I don't want you to be sad as I'm about to murder you.
That was really funny. I mean, good for her. I don't think I could have done it. Maybe like after so many days and you're just so hungry. I just don't know if I could hit an animal hard enough to kill it. But she did.
I mean.
And she comes walking back to camp holding this like little mouse and a coconut. Mm-hmm. It's like, guys, I killed a rat or a mouse or whatever.
I feel like if we were watching this live, like the little things like that might have, I don't know if they would have caught my attention. I feel like Russell's too obvious as a winner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been like, why are they showing us Natalie killing a rat? Like people get food all the time. Mm-hmm. This would have been like, I don't know if that would have been enough by any means, but it'd been like a little like, why did they show that?
I think part of it is because it's just sweet little Natalie and she's out there with a stick. And it's so funny because she's like, oh my word. Oh, just sit still. I don't want to do this.
oh my goodness. Yeah. Natalie is funny when they give her a chance. The reward winners get an idol clue. But Russell is not with the reward winners. Mm-hmm. I don't even write down who they are because it doesn't matter. He does not have it. He looks underneath this bridge and he finds it.
He's not with the reward winners?
The reward winners all get an idol clue on their reward. But while they're on reward, Russell goes looking for the idol because he's not with them. He's on the. So he finds it. And I wish we got follow up on this because I wanted to see the reward winners out looking for this thing, but we don't really.
Nope, they don't.
We don't have time for that. We got to give Russell 108 confessionals about how he's going to win the game.
Yeah, true.
With his beautiful brain. Like he's Picasso. I think that's what he says next episode. He's Picasso. Sierra's mom wins immunity again. And this is just like.
Well, Russell shows his idol to Shambo.
Yeah, which is. I think I get that because we know Shambo's anti-Galoo.
Right, and it helps solidify her flipping with them, I think.
Even though she doesn't vote with them this episode.
Sure.
This is not, I mean, in a sense, sure, but she doesn't even vote with them this episode. Mm-hmm. So, Sierra's mom wins immunity, and Shambo says her heart is broken, that they can't vote her off.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate Sierra's mom so much. It's like it's like a fun little narrative, these first few episodes of the post-merge, is like this rivalry against Sierra's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If only someone would come along and just like vote her off, would just turn on Sierra's mom and just eliminate her in dramatic fashion, and Jeff would never shut up about it, but I don't want to like spoil anything.
Right.
So Shambo says okay. Monica suggests Galoo splits the vote. Believe it or not, Mary, they bring back Monica for a future season. Why? There's nothing this season I thought, wow, Monica needs to come back.
Just her one little thing she had at Russell at the end, but that's about it. Yeah.
I get Sierra's mom. I get Russell Swan. They did ask Shambo. She denied. I get those people. I don't get Monica.
Sure.
All right. I just want to say that because now it's like first time Monica has really come relevant. Mm-hmm. Suggest Galoo splits the vote tonight.
And why wouldn't that have worked? Because we talked about this during the episode.
Well, I thought about it. So Galoo at this point has 7 votes. Mm-hmm. It would have worked. I think splitting the vote's not a bad idea. So the idea here is for Galoo. I thought originally it wouldn't work, but I think it would. It would have been better last episode, of course. It would have been
better with Eric, obviously, yeah.
But too late now. So the idea here is they want to get rid of Russell, but they're afraid Russell's going to play his idol and another idol and save himself. So obviously how they should have split the vote is they vote for like Jason or whoever, Mick. And then they put their 3 votes on Russell, and then they already know all of whatchamacallit's going to vote for whoever. All Fofo's going to vote for one person. I think the point, so while that would not be able to vote off Russell in that scenario, because if they put 4 votes on Russell, he plays his idol, it's 4-3. Mm-hmm. It's not a perfect idea, but you get Russell scared, and you do have him play his idol, and that's the whole point, is just get him to burn those idols. Mm-hmm. It's not perfect. It would obviously have been better if they did this last episode. Right. They split 4-4. And then on that 3-way tie, they could revote and pick off Russell. Mm-hmm. But they done screw that up.
Yeah.
Natalie helped them screw that up. Here, the idea is it's not perfect. We wouldn't get rid of Russell. But in the case of splitting the vote, Mary, they would have revoted and they would have gotten rid of
Right.
Jason, Mick, or Natalie. Like, that's the idea. You put 3 votes on Russell. You put 4 votes on Mick, Jason, or Natalie. So when Russell plays his idol at this tribal, he only negates 3 votes, and you get to still make sure that one of them goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because wasn't John also for splitting the votes here or no? I don't remember. I guess it doesn't matter because it didn't happen.
It doesn't matter. But, and I get it. You could say that, well, they all could just not vote for Russell. Fair, obviously. Fair. I mean, the whole point of the splitting here is it's strategic in the sense of it gets Russell scared. So you can guarantee Russell's going to play the item for himself in the future, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you split the vote here and get rid of Mick, Jason, or Natalie. And it has Russell like, I can't share my idol. They're voting for me.
Right.
So next time you do it, when you're up at that point, you should be up 7-3. You can split it and get rid of Russell because now you have the numbers on Foa Foa.
Right.
So you split it again. You do 4-3. Foa Foa only has 3 votes, and then you split the votes. Oh, Russell didn't play his idol. He goes.
Right.
He got 4 votes. Oh, he did play his idol. That's fine because we already split the vote 3-3.
Yeah.
And then you vote off. Once again, you just keep doing that split vote, keep Russell on his toes until you can just get rid of him.
Makes sense.
Yep, they didn't do it here because Monica suggested it's not a bad idea. I get why they didn't follow through with it because you really have to think through like, okay, but how would it wouldn't work with this vote, sure, but it's the idea of okay, but we can get rid of him at the next vote,
Right. And they were just so confident he didn't have the idol because I remember Dave being like,
fair.
"There's no way he has the idol. We just, we just got the clue. He doesn't have a clue." Whatever.
To be fair, I don't think they knew Russell found it without the clue.
And maybe they didn't.
They don't know Russell found it in episode 2 without a clue.
Yeah.
They just know Russell has the idol. And if you remember all the previous seasons we've seen, people have only found it with clues, like on Exile Island, or it just really has been like they got a clue at Exile. And it's either on Exile or it's back at the camp, but the clue was at Exile. Right. There's no Exile this season. I think China was the exception when they had people come over to their camp with clues.
Right.
And they shared it with them. But even then, they still need a clue. Like it took what? I forgot, like episode 5 or 6 to even find it with all the clues. So yeah. All right. So this tribal council though is pretty epic. Eric is shown to be excited as Russell plays his idol.
Well, yeah, he was like so mad at Glue. I think he just wanted a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, he wanted a little bit of revenge. Eric did not want full revenge because Glue will go to the jury. They'll all become friends again.
Yeah.
But at this moment, he's mad at his tribe for turning on him. Yeah. But that's why people wonder, like, why didn't he vote for Russell? Because by the time we get to that point, it's been like 2 weeks in his life, 14 days or 50, however many days it's been. He's had time to chill out, and cool off.
Yeah.
And befriend the Galoo people again, who are all on the jury with him.
Right.
It's like a whole Galoo jury. It's all he's with is Galoo. And they all become friends again. Yeah. So by then he's not mad at them anymore. They're all like, oh, we all got screwed, Right. It's like a collection of people getting screwed by their own issues, by what they did themselves. But it's pretty epic vote off here because he negates 7 votes, and I think that's the record.
Russell negates 7 votes.
Russell negates 7 votes with his idol. I think it's the record until it's the record for at least I want to say 12 seasons.
That's pretty good.
I won't say who. But yeah, it's a record for a good 12 seasons before somebody negates even more votes. But yeah, it's pretty impressive idol play. We go in episode 10. Shambo's still not voted with Foa Foa.
So Kelly was voted out.
Technically, Kelly's voted off. Okay. Not that we know anything about her.
And Jeff obviously says the idol's going to be rehidden.
Oh, what is this? What is this, Jeff? He's like saying, hey, Russell, we're hiding it again for you.
Or everyone. The idol's going to be hidden.
I mean, he is saying that. Like, that's how it's fair, quote unquote. Sure. But really, it's like, hey, Russell, the only person here who's found without any clues. We know you're going to be the one to find it.
Okay.
Though I will say their hiding spot this third time is a lot better than the first 2.
It is.
The one up the tree, like it's funny because of how close it is. And they didn't know. They didn't know somebody's going to find without a clue. Underneath the bridge is a little bit like, I don't know if I would have even looked there. I mean, it is on the walking path.
Yeah.
Is my running gag. But the third one, being hidden behind those like rocks and everything, like he did need a clue for that one.
Yeah.
That's how out of the way it was. So I will give them credit. They do rehide it, but they rehide it in a place where I wouldn't have looked without a clue.
Right.
So, and Russell didn't even look without a clue. All right. So Foa Foa is down 4-6 because Shambo still has not voted with Foa Foa, so I don't count her on their team yet. Russell says he is Picasso. He's the Picasso of Survivor. His beautiful brain.
Yep.
He's going to win the million.
Yep.
Natalie's a goat.
Yep.
After reward challenge, Russell says he needs a clue, though. Like, I don't know how Russell, in a matter of like one day, decided, you know what, I can find without clues. Now I need one.
Well, maybe he looked forever and couldn't find one. And he's really desperate. I think at this point, like the other 2 times he's found it, sure, he was desperate maybe the second time. First time he wasn't desperate.
He just saw everyone vote for him.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows I got to have
this is not like, ooh, I'll find it when I find it.
Right.
Yeah. I think you make a good point. Yeah, Russell at this point just saw his life on the line.
Yep.
His life flashed before his eyes. So after reward challenge, he says he needs a clue. Jason and Mick try to get Monica to flip by telling her she'll be number 6 in their group. Not a great pitch.
No.
You know, Fofoa is already at 6 because they're basically telling her Shambo's already flipped.
Right.
So we have 5, you have 5. They didn't say Shambo's name.
Right.
But they know. I mean, everyone knows.
Yeah, if you're going to promise somebody to flip, you need to promise them something better than that. You need to be like, hey, we need you because we want to get Russell out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but we need to get all of your people up first.
Russell's part of their numbers, though. Why would they say that? That's a lie.
No, I'm saying like, eventually we want to get Russell out. So we'll promise you top 3 because we don't want Russell at the end, but you need to flip now.
I don't see, but that's bet. First off, terrible endgame choice by Jason and Mick if they promise her final 3 because she will be the only glue member.
Sure, I'm just saying.
But I see what you mean. If they're just gonna like mindlessly lie to her, but they're not. They're being honest. Because remember, Mick's a good guy.
Mick is honest.
Mick is a stand-up guy, and he's an amazing guy. And you should just get okay.
I'm just saying if you're exactly. If you just have to sweeten the deal though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you can't tell somebody who's already number 6. Oh, hey, come with us, and you can be number 6.
Probably just offer the alliance without telling them their position in the alliance.
Sure, or that.
Like if you're gonna be honest, just offer the alliance. Don't say, oh, and you'll be number 6. She's already number 6 at worst. So she wants John out though. Russell's. Oh yeah. So Russell's out looking for the idol. Everyone's out looking for the idol, and Dave's on Russell's tail.
Yep.
Good for Dave. Russell does literally sprint like the little hobbit that he is away from Dave, and Dave loses him. Like they're at the same spot. They're at the rock wall. And Dave doesn't put 2 and 2 together. That's where Russell's going back to. And Russell sprints away like the little hobbit he is. And Dave chases him.
I didn't know hobbits were good at sprinting.
Well, next season, somebody's going to call him a little hobbit and make fun of the way he like walks. So you should get a kick out of that because you're not a big fan of Russell. Mary has seen Heroes vs. Villains. It's just been many years.
Yes.
Many, many years. So some of the things I'm having to remind her. She'll very quickly remember it all when we watch it. All right. So Shambo laughs so hard when Sierra's mom loses immunity openly in front of everybody.
Yeah.
There's no secret to this. She doesn't do it in a confessional.
Nope.
Sierra's mom loses immunity after winning it back-to-back times. And Shambo is just like, I mean, how does that make you feel? I mean, Shambo's not winning the end.
No.
I think Russell's bringing Shambo to the end is a good idea.
Glue
does not like her.
Yeah, it would have been good because Glue doesn't like her. And she's not. This is just so obvious. No tact.
If he had gotten rid of Mick and kept Shambo, though, he still loses because Natalie would have been there.
Yeah,
I just don't see the position where he gets rid of Natalie.
Right. He doesn't know.
I don't think the Shambo Jason combo is Russell's winning ticket. I don't know. I don't think so. They may hate Shambo. You think he still gets second because Shambo is one of the votes for him at the end. So if she's there with him, he gets a vote from John. And now Mick's on the jury. Does Mick vote for Russell? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Jason doesn't vote for Russell. So.
Nope.
And they were like aligned since day 2 or whatever. So. Not necessarily the case. I think Mick votes for Natalie because Mick wants to be the good guy, the stand-up guy, and he wants to vote for the good stand-up girl, the pretty blonde girl who was nice the whole time. Probably. Natalie would just get one more vote. Yep. So Russell does have his third idol, though, I gotta say. This time with a clue.
Right.
Yep. John tells Galoo to vote Natalie. So this is like the first time Natalie's been in legit danger the whole game. His reason is because she did not earn an idol. He's saying
that she didn't go on the reward challenge and didn't get a clue to the idol, and therefore she doesn't have an idol.
Oh, okay. It's just the way he phrased it. I was like a little confused. That makes sense though, because there's no way she has an idol,
right?
And nobody assumes Russell's going to play it now for anyone else,
right?
Because I don't think this season he does. Does he? When he plays the idol, the third idol, I don't think he plays it. No,
he always plays it for himself, I think.
Yeah, I'll double check when we get later. I think he's willing to though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he knew for a fact it would save his Fofo alliance. He would. Like if he knew they were all targeting Jason, Mick, now, I think he would play it for them. I think Russell loves the spotlight on him. I don't think he cares necessarily how he gets it.
Right.
As long as spotlight's on him and that he thinks he's getting all the glory, so he can brag about it. So John tells Galoo to vote for Natalie. Monica plans to have Foa switch to John. Why? This is their one chance to actually get...
Because she wants 4 votes on John. She wants Shambo's vote on Laura. And that leaves 5 votes on whoever they want to get out. Russell or
She's
Natalie.
trying to split up Foa and Shambo.
Yeah.
Because tonight it is 5-5, unfortunately.
Because she knows that Shambo's going to vote for Laura. And then if all Foa votes for Laura, that's another 5. So she needed Foa to vote another person. In this case, John.
If they have a 5-5 tie, they would have to draw rocks if no one turns.
Right.
And I don't see why anyone would necessarily turn. I can't see anyone of Foa just deciding, okay, well, let me turn on my own little group, because that means your game's screwed. That is your game.
Right.
And Galoo's not going to turn on them. Well, I don't know. Galoo's been turning on themselves quite a bit. Why wouldn't they hear?
Well, that's what happened here. Yeah, Galoo does.
But I'm saying, let's say they hold strong and actually do have a 5-5 vote, right?
Sure.
Like, there is a 5-5 vote. What am I saying? If there's a 5-5 vote.
And instead of going for rocks, John decides to turn because he doesn't want to go for rocks.
I'm over here talking hypothetically about something that did actually happen. I'm sorry, guys. That's the difference between doing one episode at a time and a whole season at once.
I think the reason that John did it here is because they threw his name out to Foa, for those 4 votes.
Yeah. John also thinks he's going to join the Foa Alliance at this point. I don't know what his thought process is, because at this point, at worst, he's 5. He's going to drop to 6.
Well, he said he's tired of working with these people because they don't have any strategy.
Good. I know John's got the arrogance in him too.
Yeah.
A lot. Also, in the future, John will marry Parvati Shallow.
Cool.
And they'll get divorced. Because word on the street is that John was a jerk in their marriage. Mary wants me to move along.
This has nothing to do with Samoa.
I thought that was interesting. No, I thought that was interesting. We know who if we're keeping track, we're in season 19. Parvati, the winner of season 16, and John get married. Cool. And he shows up on the Winners at War, because yes, since there's a season of all winners, in case you didn't already know that, Parvati's on it, and he's the loved one. Mm-hmm. Okay, I feel like that's relevant. Mary's looking at me like I'm crazy. They just get divorced after that. If you want to find out, you can Google it yourself, peoples, if you don't already know. All right, so Sierra's mom says she's not willing to draw rocks. Don't worry, you won't have to, because, as you said, there's a flip.
Yep.
On the revote.
On the revote.
Yep. So Sierra's mom's gone.
Yep.
Not that she would have drawn rocks anyways in that scenario. Natalie and Sierra's mom would have been safe on the draw of the rocks, because people getting voted for don't have to draw rocks. Right. Everyone else has to draw rocks. Mm-hmm. So episode 11 is a recap, so we don't have to talk about that one. Episode 12, Foa is now up 5-4. They now have the numbers. Mm-hmm. Shambo's now officially on their side. She voted with them. And Galoo has gone from 8 people to 4 just like that.
Right. Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
It's their own arrogance.
Yes. They should never have turned on Eric. That was the key vote. Yep. It really was.
It really was.
Natalie causing that to happen, and them being ready to turn on each other was just like a perfect storm. Mm-hmm. Because after that, it really is like they didn't try to get Kelly off. Kelly got off because Russell played his idol. Yep. And then what was the vote for that? Eric's voted off. Oh, Eric was voted off with the idol in his pocket. I forgot to mention when he's voted off. 10-2. So Eric's voted off. They don't want to have Kelly gone, but Russell makes sure that happens. Mm-hmm. And then the tie tonight, John flips.
Right.
So John never flips if Eric isn't voted off in episode 8.
Right, because they would have had the numbers.
Yeah, they had numbers. There'd been no reason to ever flip. I'm not saying there would have Galoo never would have turned on each other at any point. I'm not a full member or two still could have made it to the end, because Galoo clearly was ready to do this no matter what. But the Galoo power should not have dropped this quickly.
Right. Nope.
We do get the Survivor auction though.
Yep, this was fun.
Yep,
I like the auction.
I didn't write down every single item, but I did write down that Natalie pays $200 for a PB&J, which felt like a modern Survivor reward for those who are in the know. It's just like, I don't know. It's
peanut
butter
is just really good.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, has a lot of protein and a lot of fat, and it's good for you when you're hungry.
Yeah, that's like I like how here it's like one of the beginning. I think it's the first item of the auction, which is usually like the smaller items. Modern Survivor, that's like the item to win a challenge for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason, what does he do, Mary?
He spends $500 for an advantage for the next challenge, which was very smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially at this point when you don't know what's going to happen next. Like, this is not predictable that Galu's going to keep falling. So things have been going their way, but because they've been doing a lot of work. So good on Jason spending $500. Also, funny that he's like, because John was bidding for it too. And he's like, what if we both bid 500? Jeff's like, first one to 500. That changes in future seasons because it won't be first 500. It'll be, okay, you guys all bid 500. We're going to draw rocks for who gets it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this changes in the later seasons. It's first to 500 because Jeff says it. Therefore, he has to hold true to it.
Right.
But in future seasons, it'll be like the moment he says, he pulls out a piece of paper, whatever, there'll be like 3 people going 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
Partially why they don't have the auction for quite a long time because they're like, how do we work around this?
Right. Which makes sense.
At the time of recording, 45 has not happened yet. But we assume there's an auction. But I don't want to sound silly by saying there will be. So we're talking as of right now as if there hasn't been an auction for 14 seasons. Yeah. So in where we currently are. So auction here is fun. It's always fun to see the auction. John buys the pie.
Right.
And Jeff says, hey, I have an offer for you. Can you tell us what this offer is, Mary?
Well, John could get one massive slice of pie, or he could let 4 people have a massive slice of pie. Well, there's 4 slices.
Now,
sorry.
John says, I don't need to share the pie. It won't make any difference.
Yeah, I'm not going to get voted off because I didn't share the pie.
Question. John gets voted off this episode.
Yep.
Would that have made a difference?
I don't know.
This is the episode where he gets voted off.
I know it is. But I don't think so because the reason he gets voted off is because
Galu turns on him.
Russell gets, yeah, exactly. Yeah. He gets his back up with Russell. So I don't know if it would have saved him or not, but it could have.
Let me throw an idea out there. His 4 pieces of the pie don't go to Galu because he's already turned on them. They go to Russell, Mick, Jason, and Natalie. Does Fofo turn on him?
Maybe.
I don't know. Russell loves when people stroke his ego. And I'm just saying, all you got to do at this point is appease Russell. Because Russell's like, I would have done that. I would have given it to my alliance. Well, yeah, it's an easy decision for you. You're not in the midst of trying to flip or deciding whether to flip. Easier said than done.
Yeah. You know? I don't know. But then if you're John, you make all of Galu mad. And if you have any hope of winning, I guess you already did turn on them.
Yeah, but if he wants to join Foa, that means they would be up 6-3.
Right. I think his biggest mistake here was asking if anyone wanted pie, and a bunch of people said yes, and then he's like, still, no, you don't ask. You say, if you know you're going to keep it for yourself, you say, I'm going to keep it for myself.
Don't make it a thing.
Yeah.
Because people aren't going to be like, oh, no, John, you've earned that piece of pie.
Yeah.
You keep the piece of pie. No, you just be like, when he offers it, be like, no, I got to take that piece of pie. It looks too good.
Yeah.
And you just eat it. People are a little annoyed at you. They move on with life.
Yeah.
Instead of asking if they want it. Dumb. Dumb. Shambo made conversation with the chickens back at camp. She is now friends with the chickens. I think that's her strongest alliance in the game.
Yeah.
Is the chickens because
probably.
Though she keeps trying to tell them to make eggs and they haven't done anything.
Not that we know of. They might have.
On Survivor, very rare. They do not make eggs consistently like they do, if you're running a farm. Mm-hmm. Why is that? I feel like you're more
because of the stress.
Being in a cage?
They've been moved from where they're used to being. They probably don't have any feed. Mm-hmm. And all they're doing is eating little bugs that might wander into their cage. So yeah, it's a big stressful situation for them. So no, they're not laying eggs. So if they do, it's not many.
It never happens. I'm wondering. I mean, I'm not saying eggs are never laid. I'm saying it's very rare. If Survivor gave them chickens and feed as the reward, humans aren't going to eat the feed, right?
They could.
They could. Yeah, that's why they've never given them feed to go with the chickens.
Possibly, yeah.
What if they just said, hey, we're giving you chickens and the feed, and you cannot eat the feed. The feed is for the chickens. That's the rule with the feed.
That would
it is
probably
not
be better.
For human consumption.
Yeah.
Would that be a better reward? Would they get more eggs?
Possibly. In my very limited experience, yes.
No, I'm just wondering. Just thinking out loud here, because it's the chickens are always rewarded. And there's always let's keep them so they lay eggs. Just murder them.
Yeah.
Just to eat one a day, frankly, because this whole holding off 3 weeks to eat chickens. They won these chickens back in episode 4. We're in episode 12.
They might have been getting eggs from them. It
sounds like they weren't getting many because she was hoping they would lay eggs.
Right.
Sounds more like Galu was already living the high life, winning every reward, and they didn't need the chickens.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. I think you just murder the chickens one day at a time and eat them with your massive tribe.
Yeah.
But whatever. What do I know? I've never been on. So Shambo cooks the chicken for 2 hours and fights with Dave. But we do not see how it turns out because it makes it very clear Shambo's the crazy one. You know, she is treating people wrong. Mm-hmm. But does the chicken turn out good? We never find out.
I feel like it does because she is a chef and she probably doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm sure she wasn't going to boil it for 2 hours later. She was just getting it to a boil and then probably going to remove it.
The show's just trying to make a point that Shambo's crazy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help the case if it turns out she was right.
Right. Well, and also Dave is being a jerk about it.
Oh, that's Dave.
Instead of just asking, oh, are you going to boil it for 2 hours or whatever? He's just like, well, you got to take it off.
Yeah, I won the chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in episode 4. Therefore, I can tell you how to do everything.
Right. Not good on either side. And everyone's hungry and tired at this point. So
here's the thing with Dave. This reminds me of earlier with the fire thing with Dave. Mm-hmm. And at one point, Dave just gets one line of like, Dave, do you play a lot of sports? He's like, his sports love making. How often do you play it? Not often enough. Like, it's this one line in the season. But I think what I'm trying to say is with Dave, it's like, once again, this feels a lot like, oh, you know, I could do the thing, but I'm choosing not to.
Yeah.
Like, he could have cooked his chickens, he won, right? But he's choosing not to, you know, like, he'd rather criticize and be like, oh, you're doing dumb, rather than just doing it and shutting up. Very much Dave.
It would be even more of a jerk move to come in and just take over the cooking.
No, I'm saying it's episode 12. He's had 8 episodes to cook, 7 episodes to cook chickens.
Okay.
So if he really wanted to, he could have just done it by now. They were his chickens, remember? Mm-hmm. So yeah, you've waited. It's episode 12. So if you wanted to murder the chickens and eat them, then you could have done it. But instead you let Shambo do it. And so reap what you sow in this case.
True.
That's my point. I could be wrong.
So after this fight, coincidentally, Shambo has this weird dream that David gets voted off.
The way this is edited, too.
It was so weird.
What were they doing?
Trying to show how weird Shambo is.
I straight up did not remember this when we rewatched season. I'm like, what? This happened?
Apparently, yeah, I didn't remember it either, but I don't remember a lot of the season.
There's like 3 things this season I'm just like, I did not remember this. One was an earlier reward where they're on like a pirate ship, or not a pirate ship, but it's like kind of like a pirate ship, whatever. It's kind of like they're on a ship. The Galoo tribe is. I'm like, I didn't remember this ever happening.
I don't remember.
So you don't remember it happening still?
Oh yeah, I do. And they hoisted sails and stuff like that. Yeah,
I'm like, I've seen this season multiple times. It's my 3rd favorite season of all time. I forgot to mention that. Mostly because of how it ends and just everything, but I do not remember some of the things. I'm like, oh wow, you know why Russell's not in the scene? I guess because
probably.
All right. No, it's my 3rd favorite season because Russell loses. By the way, he's just poetic. Yeah, so poetic. Not because I mean I do like Russell, but I'm glad that he loses. It's a double-edged sword. So Shambo cooks chicken for 2 hours, and then we got the trippy Shambo dream to vote Dave off. Though I hate when people say she thinks it's a dream from God.
I know.
I hate that. I hate that. It's like, it's the worst. Like, don't say that. Just admit you want Dave off. You just had a fight with Dave. You want Dave off. Yeah. And your dreams reflect what your thoughts are in this case. It is not a dream from God.
No.
God can give you dreams. This is not a dream to vote off Dave is not from God. It's not at all biblical. It's not. No. So anyways, Jason wins the not log challenge because of his advantage.
Yes.
This will come up in a later season. I won't spoil who or what season, but anytime they get an advantage and it's this challenge, that those 2 knots make all the difference every time.
Well, yeah.
Because you have a knot to have your hand on and the other person is slipping.
Right.
It's like guaranteed you win.
Right.
Almost guaranteed.
Well, and you have slightly less of the
leverage
of the weight. Yeah. You have more leverage, basically.
You have more leverage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So good on Jason to win this. And I'm glad Dave loses. Not that it matters because he's not voted off this episode. John tells Russell he knows he has the idol. And like that's enough to tick Russell off.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying though. If John had given them the pie earlier, maybe this conversation goes differently.
Well, I think he still would have had to not say anything about the idol. Because he comes across as just being arrogant and that got Russell's back up and that's why he wanted John off. Yeah. So
pie or no pie. John is arrogant, and the way he talks is like he knows it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this season, at least. So when he says that to Russell, Russell's like, oh, John's gone. So Jason's like, this will make Shambo mad. We should wait one more vote to do this. And I'm like, completely I agree with Jay. I know it works out at the end, but it's in spite of this. It's in spite. It's not because I agree with Jason. This is the wrong move. Wait, get rid of somebody like Dave or Monica here, or Brett. By the way, Brett gets the first confessional of the season. We haven't even talked about Brett because Brett is nobody the whole season
until the very end.
Until he becomes Mike Tyson. Sorry, he's not Mike Tyson. He's Brett. Yeah, Brett. So get rid of Monica, Brett, or Dave. Like, you got so many options. You don't have to go out John here.
No, they did not. And I will say this is like the one time where Russell, I think, plants one of his seeds well, because he goes up to Mick and says, hey, if you could get rid of anybody right now, just don't worry about whatever. Who would you want to get rid of? And Mick says John. So obviously John is
top of mind.
He's a big threat over left on glue, because who's left now? We got John, Brett, Monica,
Dave.
And Dave. Yeah, John's probably the biggest threat physically, strategically out of those four. So, I mean, he didn't just, hey, I think I want to get John out.
Keep in mind, Shambo's only voted with them for one tribal.
Right.
So Shambo's not like completely in their pocket.
And that's another reason, though, to not vote John. Obviously, we've already talked about it.
Vote off Dave.
I would have voted off Dave, Monica, Brett, anybody.
Well, she wants Dave. Like,
she wants Dave.
What's
right.
wrong? Just get rid of Dave.
Keep Shambo happy. She's in your alliance. Keep John happy.
Yeah.
But
just get rid of Dave. And then after Shambo's voted with you 2 times, I think you could do like, hey, Shambo, we really want to get off John. Is that okay?
Right.
Shambo would be like, yeah, you guys voted with me to get rid of Sierra's mom, who I hate. You got rid of Sierra's mom, and you got rid of Dave. Those are people I hate. I hate those people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm willing to work with you to get rid of John. I'm not saying Shambo is completely rational and would have said that, but I'm saying that your likelihood is much higher than she's only voted with you once. Like, Jason's right. You are rolling the dice here on Shambo come next episode, because so they do get off John. Shambo's mad. I wrote down that Foa is up 4-3-1. That one is Shambo, because Shambo is in flux here, in my opinion, post that vote.
Well, it wasn't very long, and I think Russell did a good job of saying, hey, John was targeting you. We didn't want to tell you
Russell lies.
Well, yeah, because John wasn't targeting her.
No.
I'm just saying, sorry, he did smooth things over with Shambo and immediately brings her back over.
And you could credit partially this is that Russell and Shambo is one of the relationships he does have this season. He does have a relationship with Shambo.
Yeah.
Because they both have similar ways of thinking about things. Also, Russell knows he can manipulate her. Yeah. Unlike Natalie, Shambo is way more able to be manipulated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Shambo's more emotional. And if somebody's emotional and you know how to control those emotions, which is what Russell said in episode 1.
Yeah.
You control the emotions. You control how they think and everything. He needs a cast of emotional people to do that with.
Right.
Mick, Jason, and Natalie are not actually very emotional people. Like, openly emotional from what we've seen.
Right.
They have emotions because they're humans, but like, they're not like Shambo emotional.
Right.
So it's funny that that's his alliance.
True.
I think because he has people who are willing to sit on their hands and let him be in the driver's seat.
Yep.
Yeah. He needs followers and emotional people to be successful. So Foa is up 4-3-1, though very quickly, as you said. Russell lies, says John's targeting Shambo. We then get Survivor Bowling Tournament. Now, this challenge, I thought at first, I was like, oh, this would be cool, but
no.
As you said when we watched it, you're like, yeah, it's kind of boring.
It's kind of boring.
Is there a way this could have been better?
The only thing I can think of is if it was a reward challenge and it was a team effort and your team got, like 5 balls if you answered 5 questions. Like, you got a ball per question you answered right or something like that.
Sure.
Or that one where it's like, who's the least favorite? Or if the questions were about, who's the worst cook on the tribe or whatever.
Yeah, they haven't done that in a few seasons now, I think about it.
That kind of stuff is more interesting. But just, 1v1, throw a ball down a lane and hope it hits pins.
And you get 2 shots like it's real bowling.
Right.
It's not Survivor enough.
It wasn't very Survivor.
It wasn't Survivor enough.
Yeah. It wasn't very interesting.
I think you have to roll a coconut down the lane, number 1. To get rid of the ball.
Roll a coconut.
And I understand the coconut rolls differently, but it's Survivor. Like, are we really playing fair?
No.
You just get you get a coconut for each side that both are very similar in shape and everything, and you smooth them out as a production team. You paint one purple, you paint one yellow for each teams, because teams are for some reason here are purple and yellow, as if this was meant to be for the tribal phase, and they decided against it or something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's potential here, but I would need to brainstorm it.
It's really lame for an immunity challenge, I will say.
It's really lame for an immunity challenge, I agree. This is definitely like a reward challenge. And it's especially not episode 13.
Yeah.
This is like episode 2, 3, 4.
Right.
Like, oh, we're trying something different. Kind of like when they did the Jeff not being there challenge. Like, it only works because it's reward and because it's like pre-merge reward challenge.
Right.
Like, not stakes are low here.
Right.
But for immunity, yeah, because Jason wins. So now Jason's won a challenge where he had the challenge advantage, which almost guaranteed him a win.
Right.
And here, I don't know, like, it's not really a challenge beast to win bowling. I could win bowling, you know? I could win bowling.
It's more of the luck, honestly, because it feels like it's not a real bowling ball. It's
No.
not a real lane.
No,
it's
there's
just
no like grease in the
throw
lane. You're not curving the
down.
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like professional bowlers might have been good. You know what I mean? But like they have a style and it's like throw the ball, it curves and it goes down, it hits these certain points. Like here's just wood and a ball and pins. It's not like
I don't think a professional bowler would have had an advantage.
like you just have to keep it straight, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
So, and they do make I will give them credit. So the lanes are wider than normal lanes, or at least the pins are smaller because usually the pins fill the lane, but here there was like space. So like there was more. It felt like there was more space for them to like. I don't know, not to miss is the word, but they had more space on the lane for the ball to correct. That's what I'm trying to say. But
Sure.
The lanes were not designed for the balls to do a sort of curve.
No.
I'm really into bowling, so I wrote down this because I'm like, man, I kind of like the idea, but like it's not executed very fun. But they do it again next season, and I think next season is tribal. Don't quote me on that.
Well, at least that's a little better.
Don't quote me on the tribal
We'll
part.
see.
I remember people getting to sit out for food, so maybe it was individual, but it's definitely reward related. No, I think it's for immunity next season.
Yeah,
if you don't want to be for immunity, you get food.
Usually they only give food if it's immunity.
I don't know if they'll fix the
At
challenge
least
at
they
all.
made that a little bit better then, because that would have been more interesting if you chose to
To have
sit
a
out
choice.
for food. Yeah.
Yeah. Next season they'll have that choice. So Monica tries to pitch Russell on voting out Shambo, which is kind of a stretch. But I guess it's harder to pitch him on voting off Mick, Jason, or Natalie.
Yeah.
Russell tells Dave that talking to him is the only smart strategic move that Dave can do in this game.
And you're not talking to me. Why aren't you talking to me?
Russell's crazy.
So Dave's gone.
Just like telling Dave, like, look, your only good move in this game is talking to me. All right, Dave's gone. Okay, cool. In a clean sweep, by the way. His own tribe turns on him. So this is a double tribal episode, and because Shambo voted with them, they are now up 5-2. Mm-hmm. Only Monica and Brett remain. Right. So now all of a sudden, Brett, who hasn't even, I don't think he got one confessional in the first episode. Like, maybe Brett's talked since then. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. Brett all of a sudden now is a huge threat, though. His threat level just jumps up a bunch because they needed to jump a bunch because he's about to win 3 immunities in a row. So all of a sudden he's presented as this threat when really it's just like the monster of the week. If you ever watch like a TV show like NCIS, like what's the case of the week? Like it doesn't matter to the overall season, but it matters to that episode. Brett's that.
Right.
He's the case of the week for the Foa crew.
Well,
How to get rid of their villain of the week.
this week and next week, basically.
Yeah, no, he's there till the finale, so he is the end. He's the end season boss for them. But Brett's been nobody the whole season, so
Right.
crazy because if you think about it, and the whole jury, if Brett gets the end, is Galoo with the exception of 2 of the Fofo would have to be there, but we saw Jason not vote for Russell. Mm-hmm. Depends on who Brett sits next to. If he sits next to Natalie and Russell, I think Brett sweeps the jury or gets a lot of the jury's vote, and Brett wins. Mm-hmm. And maybe I would believe that was more of an option had Brett not been a nobody the whole season up until now.
Right.
So, all of a sudden, he's a huge threat. People have joked, Mary, that he's been actually CG'd into the whole season. Like he wasn't there. They're like, where did Brett come from? They must be using CGI to put him into the season. And then there's been like fake screenshots made where people like made it look like they're on a soundstage or like Brett's on a soundstage and everybody else is on the island. They inserted him later. It's a whole joke.
I know it's really funny to you.
It's funny if you see the visuals, I guess. I should have shown you the visuals. But anyways, it's pretty funny if you look it up. So Monica and Brett tell Mick that Russell plans on bringing Nat and Shambo to the end. And obviously they're telling Mick this to get him to turn.
Right. As they should.
Mick
and as
care.
Mick should.
Mick doesn't care.
But yeah.
It's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah. I don't know why he doesn't. Like, this is so obvious. In Modern Survivor, well, Russell wouldn't have made it this far in Modern Survivor, but you take out the big threats. It's so obvious. Now, I do understand not wanting to have any glue members at the end. And so at this point, what are your options? But this is the point where if I'm Mick or Natalie, yes, I take out Russell here, and then I take out the remaining glue, and I take Shambo with me to the end.
I mean, heck, if I'm Mick and Natalie, just take Jason on to the end. Stick true to your guns. You know, I understand technically on paper take Shambo, but like just get rid of Russell and have you three be at the end and be like, I think they all have I don't think they have an equal shot because we saw Natalie sweep
you're right.
Mick.
You're right.
But I think in their minds they should see that they all have a pretty equal shot if they get rid of Russell.
Yeah.
And they're all there at the end together. So she tells him this, and Mick channels a person. If you haven't seen Ghost Island, that's okay. There's a person on Ghost Island who every single week through the whole post-merge game would be like, oh, this week I'm taking off my gloves and I'm knocking out the biggest 2 targets here. Every week she would say this.
Never happened.
Nope. Sits in her hands the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
I try and spoil future seasons, but that's like my most notorious example. That's Mick here. Mick says, there's a part of me that wants to make a big move. But he doesn't say this, but he should have. But that part of me, I just like shoved down deep inside and I forget about it.
Yeah.
Because that's really what Mick's saying. He wants to make a big move. There's a part of me like, I want to make a big move. I want to. Mm-hmm. But I just choose not to because they could. They got 2 free votes that they could take advantage of over on Galoo.
Right.
They could.
They could.
5-2. You got an advantage right now. You get those 2 votes. You and one other person go and join the Galoo people, vote off, and then you're all of a sudden you have the numbers. Mm-hmm. My gosh.
But it didn't happen.
Nope, doesn't happen. But they show that they're trying, I think is the point here.
Yeah.
They're like, Galoo is trying. They're not just sitting on their hands. They're just done screwed up too much. Monica tells Russell she knows he has the idol. Anytime somebody says this, by the way, this is trouble.
Yeah.
And he needs jury votes. And she lies about Jason wanting to get rid of him. This is when somebody comes back at Russell with the seeds.
Mm-hmm. Well, she is right. I mean, he does need jury votes. And I never advocate for like, oh, don't put me on the jury because I'm going to spread rumors about you. That doesn't make me want to keep you. And it's not even rumors. She just said, I'm going to poison the jury against you.
Yeah.
So keep me around. Like that never makes.
There's a way to react to this conversation though that Russell doesn't do, because we do see this in later seasons and other seasons where the jury will, this person will be like, hey, if you put me on the jury, I will not vote for you.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I appease you? Like, what did I do to offend you? But at this point, though, it's too late. That means that you've already screwed this up, this relationship up.
Well, I will say her best thing was, hey, Jason wants to get you out, which again is a lie.
Yeah.
But that would have been her best move is, listen, phone's going to turn on each other and I'm just here to help. I'm just one vote, use me. That would have been a better approach to it.
Her other approach could have been go over to Russell, be like, hey, I want to work with you. And the reason is because I know Mick, Jason, and Shambo, I just overheard them talking about getting rid of you.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't want Shambo at the end because I don't like, stick something that sounds truthful and get Russell really go, what? They're going to turn on me?
Yeah.
Russell's paranoid. He's seen to eat into, I think next season people, I don't remember as much. We'll see. We'll see next season. I think people try to take advantage of his paranoia there too. But here is Monica's like the first person to really like get under his skin. So Russell goes to tribal and he puts the idol around his neck to make a point. And maybe if he was the underdog still, this would be like a cool move. But when you have the power, it's more of like a jerk move.
Yeah. Just a flex that's not needed.
If they were down in numbers, but I wouldn't do that if you're down in numbers because then they'll just like, all right, we won't vote for you.
Right.
Unless you know who they're going to vote for and you still play for the right person. Then it's like a huge flex.
Right.
I showed you the idol. You voted for this person. I played the idol for that person. But here it's like you're up 5-2. This is just a jerk move. Mm-hmm. Yep. Monica, though, gets under Russell's skin. Russell gets mean at tribal with Monica. In fact, in the confessional, he calls her a little bee, And I don't mean like the Bee Movie. I mean like what you call a female dog. And he calls her that. And he's just like, she really got under him. Like, yeah. And I don't think Monica alone poisons the jury. I'm sure the jury's all talking about who's doing what. But I don't know. I don't know what you do here because it's already too late at this point. It's like a point of no return.
No, Russell lost his game as soon as he came on the island. Like he's been a jerk the entire time.
Yeah, he's not connecting with people.
Nothing he could do would make anything better unless he immediately changed as soon as he started playing. And there is
a secret scene where he fights with Shambo, by the way, but they cut it out I think because Shambo votes for him, and they needed you to understand why Shambo votes for him. So anything we see with Shambo and Russell is mostly them getting along, and I think Shambo's the kind of person I think gets into, if it's a fight with somebody she likes, she kind of just gets over it.
Yeah.
So while him and her have a fight, it is towards the end, almost when she's voted off. I think they just didn't include it because like it doesn't affect anything at the end of the day.
Right.
So Russell fights. I'm saying my point is he fights even with Shambo,
right?
Who is like, you know, his like number one advocate here. And at Final Tribal, she's like, I want. She's buzzing off to Mick and buzzing off to Nally. Doesn't say anything to Russell though that we see.
No.
She's basically tells Russell, I'm going to vote for you. That's basically it. So Monica here is voted off, and many people have named this as this is the first time, this episode is the first time we've seen Russell say mean things to a person's face instead of just in a confessional. So far this season, I know it's 108 confessionals, so it feels like he's talking mean all the time. But if I recall, he doesn't actually say hateful things to people to their face or about them. I'm telling you, if you go back and watch the first 12 episodes, he doesn't say.
I mean, you're probably
he
right.
He doesn't say mean things to anyone's face. Yeah, it doesn't now
that we see.
That's what I'm saying. That we see. This is the first episode we see that. So they're really setting up here. They want you to be prepared, but they waited too long to prepare you. For the casual audience to know that Russell's going to lose. Because, like, this is like the first big red flag, but here we are 2 episodes for the finale. They need to set this up a little bit earlier. For the casual audience, you and I have seen how Natalie's making connections and he's not.
Sure.
But only because we know where this is going.
Yeah. No, I understand. I don't know. I just feel like as much as he said to the camera, and even whenever he wanted to get somebody out, he was always like, "Oh, they're an idiot. They're trying to come after me." And this is what he would say to the other tribe people. So sure, maybe he didn't say anything to people's face.
I don't think he said that they're an idiot, but he would say, "Oh yeah, no." He said, "How dumb is that?"
Yeah, how dumb are they that they're trying to attack me?
Yes, you're right. He did say that. Yeah, but I guess to their face is the thing. Also, I think even if you're not saying it to somebody's face, if you're thinking these things, unless you're a really good actor, aka you're a psychopath, it comes out. Like, it just like the way you treat them comes out. So, and it's just stuff that they can't, it's like hard to show in a 42-minute episode is how you're treating people, you know, differently.
Sure. I'm not saying this isn't the start of Russell losing some control and, you know, getting over
his
the top. His
arrogance gets out of control starting here.
But
openly.
I feel like he's been like this the whole game. So
yeah, he's been arrogant the whole game, but I'm saying openly, like,
sure,
because from here on out, he knows he has the numbers. Now they're up 5-1 going up to 14. Like Russell's arrogance is that he's like, I have toppled Galoo by myself. He says that.
Yes,
by himself, he voted off Galoo. So with episode 14, Fofo is up 5-1, and we see Brett and Natalie connect, just like kind of like Sierra's mom and Natalie did, over them both being Christians, and it's like legit. It's not. It's not one person pretending, because we'll see that in other seasons where somebody's pretending to have the same faith as somebody else just to take advantage of them.
Right. And
that's a horrible season. But this season, they're being legit. And so why does Brett vote for Natalie? You know, like the little seeds are there. She makes friends with Dave. You know, her and Sierra's mom connect. Like, we get it. We get why people vote for Natalie at the end. That right there, Brett, Sierra's mom, and Dave are 3 votes. Russell gets 2. I mean, I know it's not 3-2 at the end, but it's there.
Right.
Whole time. It's just the little things, though. Shambo says she needs a haircut because she's had the same hairstyle since 1986. Though
she's not saying a new style. She's just saying she needs a haircut.
Yeah. But I'm saying, I think this is when we learned that she's had the same haircut since like 86.
Sure.
Though in the reunion, she's like, actually started growing in 84. And I think to this day, by the way, it's 2023 when we're recording this, that she still has it. I've seen more recent photos. So from 86 to now, that is insane. How many years is that? You doing the math?
No.
Oh, I thought you were pulling up the calculator to do some math there. 2023 to 86 is 37.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a long time to have the same haircut.
It is.
I don't know if she still has 2023. I've seen more recent photos where she still has it. So I can't imagine why she would get rid of it, frankly. All right. Reward challenge here is of there are like these ropes holding up coconuts, and I get why I don't think they've ever done this one again. It's like kind of I don't think it works for TV. The same probably works in person. Like I can see why you're looking down the rope. What will these drop? But like TV wise, I'm like I don't know how to make it interesting. Yeah, like kind of like the bowling. Except bowling, I understand exactly what's happening. This here, I'm just like. Things happen, but I'm like, how did that one drop 50 coconuts? How did that one only drop like 2? Like, I don't know. It
really is kind of chance, I think, and luck, and it's not great TV.
Yeah, and it's not a strategy though. I do like that Russell and Natalie both get to be the team captains and pick their own teams. Unfortunately, Russell's team wins.
Right.
It would have been really nice if Natalie's team won here. There is a season, Mary, where the immunity challenge comes down to the final 3, and then they get eliminated in the order they get eliminated in the in the season. It like the third place goes out first, second place goes out, and then first place wins the challenge. It's like that's like kind of what I was hoping would happen here, but no,
You didn't.
unfortunately. So Jason drops 48 coconuts, which I thought would be the record, and then Shambo's like, drop 58, and then Natalie drops 58.
Yeah,
She's like, I called that, and I'm like, how did she call that?
I don't know.
That's crazy. Like, yeah. So Russell's team wins. At this time, Russell says he wants Mick or Brett gone, but so that ends up going nowhere though, because Brett does win immunity.
Right.
Mick isn't going here.
Nope.
Though not a bad idea to get rid of Mick. I know Russell technically beats Mick at the end. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Let's think about that. What if he took Mick and Shambo to the end? Because I don't think I can't say Russell beats Jason. I don't know how Jason is at the end, but we know how Mick is at the end.
Right.
Does Russell beat Mick and Shambo? That's my question.
It's possible, unless the jury is just so salty that it doesn't matter. I think they would have still picked Mick, possibly.
You think they still
even
pick
if he
Mick?
was a jerk? I don't know. I don't think anybody's voting
When
for him.
Eric says, delusional arrogance and delusional entitlement about Russell and Mick, that doesn't change if Shambo's there. In fact, if anything, Mick probably thinks he's even better of a person because he's sitting next to Shambo.
Right.
I don't know.
I think
And Shambo's not going to appease the jury.
no.
So the only person there would be Russell, who actually did play a game, albeit a game that people didn't like, but hey, at least he played the game. You know what I mean? Like, unlike Mick, who did nothing, and Shambo, who isn't going to try to appease them at all. I think Russell could beat Mick and Shambo. I think it's probably, maybe that's his best combo.
Sure.
I don't know why Jeff suggests Jason and Shambo, like as if Russell didn't just beat Mick.
Yeah. I don't know. You never know what might have happened.
I just don't think Mick changes the way he talks, and I don't see Shambo getting the glue vote unless she changes at who she is, and Shambo is not the kind of person to change who she is.
Right. No,
all
I
of a
don't think
sudden.
so.
So I think that's actually Russell's best chance here. So unfortunately for him, Brett wins immunity number 2. Jason wants Shambo out. Russell doesn't even like Shambo's breath, he says. I don't even like her breath. Like, okay, Russell, all right. I didn't realize that was to be aligned with somebody, you gotta like their breath. I don't even like her breath. He just like turns on Shambo so quickly.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, Shambo's voted off here. Mistake for Russell. Huge mistake. So we get to the finale. Russell says he should be there with superstars. And I feel like now this is the same. So this airs same night as the reunion, obviously. Mm-hmm. They promote the next season's called Heroes vs. Villains. Everyone knows it's returnees. I'm surprised that in that clip they didn't show who the returnees were. Modern Survivor, they would have done that. They would have shown who was coming back, or at least teased some of the people maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't show anybody. So I'm actually surprised they have Russell say this and then they don't say, oh, and Russell's coming back next season.
Right.
That's airing in like 2 months.
Right.
You think that would have really like hyped it up more.
Maybe they were sad because he didn't make it that far. I don't know.
Yeah, Mary doesn't remember Heroes vs. Villains, so at the end I'll hear what her theories are based on what she remembers and what she thinks can happen.
I don't remember much.
That's okay. I think it's just more funny than anything else to listen to, because those who are listening to this probably know exactly how it goes down. It's kind of when we did the China one and you predicted Micronesia and you were like, oh, Amanda won't make it far. She made it to the final 2.
True. So funny. Yep.
I thought it was funny because I'm like, she has no idea. So Russell tells Natalie she is gone if Brett wins. Mm-hmm. But Brett does win, and she doesn't go.
Right.
It's just like, if he sits next to Mick and Jason, does he beat them? I don't know. I think he beats Mick. That's the Jason factor. I cannot guarantee a win against Jason.
I don't think he does. I think people only voted for Natalie because she was nicer than Mick, but I think people would voted for Mick because he's nicer than Russell.
Okay, but what if he's next? I don't know. Mick gets 0 votes.
Yeah, but he would have got all of the votes of the people who voted for
You're saying
Natalie.
Natalie's votes you're saying that like
I'm saying the people that didn't vote for Russell are not voting for Russell.
Oh, gotcha. So I think it's 7 votes for Natalie. All just transfer to whoever is not Russell.
Right.
No matter what. Huh.
That's my opinion.
Well, if Natalie's on the jury, does she vote for Russell?
I think she will vote, but then there's 3 people voting for Russell.
Three is better than 2. And then you got 6 votes. I don't know.
You still have to get 5 votes to win.
I'm just like trying to think, how could Russell win this thing? Because the question is, how did Russell lose? Well, I know that, but how could he have won is my question.
By not being Russell.
You can't change him as a person.
I know,
So I'm trying to figure out how can I get Russell.
Win.
I'm trying to think how this version of Russell could win. I think Mick and Shambo is his best combo. So Russell tells Natalie she's gone if Brett wins. And he's like, well, Brett's won 2 immunities, but Jason's won 2 immunities. Doesn't mean anything. He's not Mike Tyson. He's Brett, you know, which is such an iconic
I think it was getting in their head, that Brett has won.
Yeah.
And it's discouraging.
You can't beat Brett. Yeah. Well, I put not Mike Tyson wins immunity. Mm-hmm. So I guess he still got in their head. Man, Brett here just being so humble, and it's like a male version of Natalie in the season from what we can see. He's just being so nice and humble. He's not taking any of this he's just being a cool dude. Mm-hmm. Russell says he wants to keep Natalie as a goat. He's changed his mind. And because he's like trying to think, how can we beat Brett at the end?
Yeah.
To be fair, it ends up being Russell who beats him. Mick is a non-factor. Mm-hmm. Jason and Natalie, I think in his mind, are basically the same in challenges. Right. Jason, while he won 2, if you think about which ones he won a bowling tournament, like where are the odds of that skill coming up again? Mm-hmm. And he won a challenge where he had an advantage. Right. Like, does he win it without the advantage? Like if Jason, I think, had won that challenge without an advantage, and his other win had been on like a puzzle or something,
then he would have stayed.
I think he would have stayed. Mm-hmm. But his worth in winning was like, one seems like a fluke, mm-hmm. and one's because he has an advantage. Right. So is he better than Natalie, or are they the same? Right. Yeah. I don't know. Jason, man, just goes from being a major character the first half. I think at this point he's almost nobody, in my opinion, in the show. Russell says he's complacent, and I agree. Like from what we've seen, Jason's kind of just like, he's just chilling, dude.
I did feel like he gave up more towards the end. Like he felt like he just got comfortable.
I think he checked out. Mm-hmm. I think he was done playing the show, right. Frankly. I think he was, I don't know if Jason was a super fan coming in or anything like that, but Jason seemed like he liked it and then kind of got bored of it, tired of it. Yeah. So I get, Jason's voted off here, and I wrote down, I get the risk by Russell here, because Jason could vote for him at the end. Yeah. I get it.
He could. And I really do think it is more important to try and get Brett out, and have those odds of not having a glue member. You don't want a glue member at the end, and you really want to get Brett out. I think Mick is your better choice between the two. And
Mick looks like he should be winning challenges.
Right. And you want Natalie with you at the end in his mind because she's a goat.
And Jason, he was good in the beginning. I remember Jason doing really well in the very first challenge when they're like, he had to do the swimming portion and he like crushed John. Yeah. And Jason's like, yeah, actually I do water polo. It's like Jason was good, but he's just now. Like if Jason here had the same energy he did in the beginning, he would probably have stayed. Right. I don't know if Natalie goes though. I think
Mick would have gone.
I think Russell truly thinks she's a goat. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So at this point, not Mike Tyson has 0 votes against him this season. Brett has 0 votes against him. If Brett goes to final tribal, as long as he can get Jason's vote and Mick's vote or Natalie's vote, whoever the other FOFO member goes, let's say Brett wins immunity here. Does Brett send Russell to the jury? I don't know. I'm saying that Brett's chances of clean sweeping the jury and having a perfect game are dependent on this immunity win that he doesn't get. Right. But it's like he could have clean sweep the jury. I don't know, though, for a fact, because Jason might vote for Mick or, I don't know. Depends on who he's sitting next against. If he's sitting next to Russell and Natalie or Russell and Mick, does it make a difference? I don't know. For
a perfect
Brett
game. I don't know if
he wins.
He wins. I don't know if he would get a clean sweep.
Yeah. Oh man. Think about how close he is here. He has 0 votes against him this season. Brett, the guy who's a nobody up through like episode 13, 12, whatever, all of a sudden is like on the verge of possibly a perfect game, and we barely do anything about it.
I think he's just too chill. Yeah. Usually people, I can't name all the perfect winners, but usually perfect winners are people that are like just amazing at the game and you can't deny it. And Brett's just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm cool. I got to win because I don't want to go home. That's about it.
All right. So Russell then promises him final 3, but why?
I don't know. This is really dumb.
His idea here is that if Brett wins immunity, Brett will take him. But like, I don't think Brett's making the decision based on this final 3 agreement. And I also don't think Russell breaking the agreement changes who Brett was going to vote for. No, he's not. Brett's not a super emotional player.
Right.
But from what we see. So yeah, I think dumb is the word I'd still use regardless. But I don't think it makes any impact either way. I think Brett does what he does no matter what. Russell does what he does no matter what. It's just showing you that Russell thinks that like this is the way to win.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's not.
Russell does win final immunity impressively over Brett. And he basically tells Mick and Natalie, he says to their face, I've won this game.
Yep.
He's already won.
Yep.
They haven't even voted yet. They could still vote off Russell.
Yeah, they could have.
But he knows they're not going to.
Well,
also, he knows that they're going to lose. They would lose to Brett. They have to vote off Brett.
Yeah.
Brett has to go.
Yes. Well, they couldn't vote off Russell. He had immunity.
I will say this makes the narrative a lot more interesting for the FOA toppling glue, is that it takes until the last vote to make it happen. So it's literally the whole post-merge game, because if Brett had gone out 2 episodes ago when he didn't have immunity, like they just clean sweep glue at this point and be like, who are we going to turn? Are we turn each other? Which happens some seasons, but here it's because Brett is still a threat. That's what makes the season so good up through the end.
Right.
So
they had to stick together.
Every vote mattered up through the end. It wasn't just like, all right, well, we've eliminated everybody. What are we going to do now? So, Brett's voted off. Yes. Also, there's very, very sad music when Russell tells Brett he can't take him to the end. They cue the sad music as if there's any emotion behind this at all.
I don't know. Yeah, that was dumb.
So before Final Tribal Council, Russell is just harassing Natalie.
Yes. This is horrible.
Well, that's why they're showing it to you, because she's about to win this thing.
I'm sure he did it to Mick too, but it seemed
a lot less.
Well, they didn't show it at all. If it did.
If he did to him, I think it's a lot less. I think the arrogance here is what they're really trying to display. And now he's just like, well, it's in God's hands. Like she's just trying to like.
I think he was trying to like pull out from her what her answers and stuff were going to be, so he could prep for that. I guess I don't know, but
I don't think Natalie had prepared answers. I think Natalie was just she knew how she was going to describe her game, because she told us like she saw the strong woman getting voted off, so she knew she had to go under the radar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think this was smart of Natalie, because she said in confessional what she was going to say, but we don't see her like telling Russell. She's like, yeah, it's in God's hands, and whatever happens happens, and which is good on her. You don't have to tell Russell.
Second place with those answers,
right? You don't have to tell Russell what your answers are going to be.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to know or be prepped for what you're going to say. Like she already knows basically probably what he's going to say at the final jury. And so she can kind of counteract that, or at least be completely opposite. You don't want to be saying the same things as somebody else at the final trial.
Because Natalie, I don't think Natalie has a villainous moment this whole season, frankly. I'm not when I do her video, I don't know if she'll be the second person I've ever covered who has 0 villainous moments. Which in retrospect, the one person I gave 0 villainous moments to probably should have had 1, because they did lie to a person. That's an old season. But Natalie might be the first winner, I guess, the better way of saying it, that has 0 villainous moments. I don't know. I'll find out when I do go through the video again, or when I go through make her video. But Natalie here, just like sweet as can be, super nice. Russell's in the hammock with his orange juice, looking like a villain, just looking like a villain.
Yeah,
this tooth missing. All right.
And we don't hear from Mick really at all. He's just kind of sitting there.
Mick's a non-factor. Yeah. Who cares? He says he will put Nat on the jury, though.
I know.
Because she's annoying him. Yeah. And his arrogance is at an all-time high. It's just so... Like, you cannot script this better. I mean, you could, I guess, but it's so real. Like, how Russell's... These are real reactions.
Right.
He's not just saying things for TV. He really thinks this. Is he drunk? Were they giving alcohol at this breakfast? Why is he saying she'll put her on the jury?
I don't know.
I'll put you on the jury. All right. Nat says she had to play quiet when all the aggressive girls went early. Okay, so time for Final Tribal Council. Supposedly, Mick was going to win before Final Tribal, is what word came out after the season. But he blew it.
Yeah.
Man, if Mick wins this, do you think we get a different edit for Mick? Do you think we get anything different? Well, Natalie, I mean, like, her edit was so small and she won. But Mick's a man, and they do favor men winners more than women. That is statistically, factually accurate. Trust me.
Well, I'm just saying that Mick had more opportunities to do things. So if he had won, then sure, I think we would have seen more from him, heard more from him.
But he Natalie would have been basically purpled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't really do much. And he didn't win.
Yeah. So there's like, whatever. He's going to be 0 votes at the end. So Nat is the only one in the open. So they all have their opening talks. Mick's like, you can't vote for a more stand-up guy than me. Russell's like, let me tell you how I get rid of Marisa and Betsy. Okay. He also does say his strategy, but like, it's like he's coming in with all of his game moves and not really like, you need to like say how you play the game, I guess. And I get the moves, like, but Russell's so focused on his moves, he just like is forgetting that like, he needs to make people want to vote for him.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to just come out with them. He's like, here's all the facts about how I should win. And it's like, yeah, but you gotta like kind of caress the jury. You gotta like treat them nice. Like I think if Russell came in here and he showed he was a humble guy, like, and that this was an act, the whole game that he was putting on. Maybe, I'm not saying that's a guarantee by any means. Maybe.
Sure.
Because Mick loses the jury by not being humble. So maybe Russell could have won a couple of votes, you know?
Yeah. Could have.
There's a jury of 9 here, and there's a final 3. There could have been, I don't know what happens if there's a 3-3-3 vote. There wasn't going to be, clearly. But what if it was 3-3-3? Would they have done like a fire making competition for the winner?
I don't know.
But you need 5 votes here to win. If it's just, if one person gets no votes.
Right.
So, all right, Natalie, though, is the only person to show thanks to the jury in her opening.
Yeah.
The other 2 do not thank the jury in any way.
She's the only one that's humble.
And we saw this during Gabon as well. Bob like actually is like thanking the jury, and then Sugar was like, "Oh, you know, if you want to throw a vote my way, that'd be nice, I guess." And it's like, Sugar, step it up. And it's like Bob's actually like, even though Bob didn't have an amazing final tribal, he at least was humble and he thanked the jury and he acknowledged his flaws.
Right.
And he's, Bob was. I'm trying to say, if you're gonna have a bad tribal, there's still good things you can do.
Right.
Mick nor Russell do them.
No.
Natalie doesn't have much to say about her game besides her basic strategy, but she's nice. So the first juror is Jason. He says the final 3 here, they're not broke. Don't let them lie to you and say that they're broke, because Mick's like, oh, I'm 300 grand in debt from school.
Right.
And Natalie's like, I'm unemployed. And Jason's like, yeah, but like these are privileged people.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that was a discussion at Ponderosa. What do you think about this? Why is he bringing this up?
Well, I think it's because it's important to him. I think he really did want people to know about Russell being a multimillionaire, which they probably knew. And I think that's just something that you should take in consideration, because this is a lot of money. And so if you're like, well, maybe, I don't know what discussion was back on camp.
Yeah,
but,
I wonder what that discussion was.
But it was obviously something that had come up and was maybe important and needed to be discussed.
Well. All I know is that there clearly was some reason he brought it up besides Russell being a multimillionaire, because he doesn't just hone in on that. He points out that all 3 of them are privileged.
Right.
And I think he wants to make a point that all 3 of them are on equal ground here in that case. While sure, one of them claims to be a multimillionaire, the other 2 are not going to be poor.
Well,
post-season.
Natalie was definitely probably
Mick
the
got
poorest.
300 grand in debt, so if anyone's the poorest.
Sure. Okay.
But in the long run, Mick should get out of that with his job.
Yeah.
So should, it's a key word. So Shambo is the next juror, and she apologizes to America for turning on Galoo, which I thought was funny.
That was funny.
I mean, you can apologize now, Shambo, but
Doesn't matter.
the thing is, like, she hated them the whole season. That wasn't like,
Yeah.
what was the end goal here, Shambo?
Right.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. You don't turn on Galoo, then you look like a hypocrite for hating them and they're not turning on them. So anyways, then she just rips into Natalie and Mick. We know she's voting for Russell.
Right.
Jason makes no indication as to who he's voting for. Like, he gives them all the what for.
Right.
So at this point, we don't know who's voting for who, besides Shambo voting for Russell. Brett's the third one, and he only talks to Mick that we see. And he asks Mick, what would we do if we were on a bro date? Can you explain this, Mary?
Well, he was trying to know if Mick knew anything about him or how much Mick paid attention. Like, does Brett like bowling? Does Brett like basketball? What would they do? You know? And Mick just butchers this. Like, we would wake up. First of all, it's a date. You didn't spend the night together.
Yeah, he said a bro date. That's what he said. We would do on a bro date.
And then we would just like hang out and like do bro stuff and talk about girls.
Yeah, and like read the news.
Generic. Yeah, he said we'd read the news
sports.
and watch sports. And it was just like a really basic generic answer that had nothing. And bro was like, yeah, okay, I just want to know how well you knew me.
I kind of wanted Brett to ask, I don't know if he did, because they cut stuff out, of course, for time. I wonder if he asked Russell a similar question.
Sure. And maybe he did.
Obviously, we saw him connect with Natalie. No question there. He could have asked all 3 of them the same question.
Yeah.
a little weird to ask Natalie about a bro date, but what would we do if I went out for lunch or something? I don't know, maybe. But we did. It seemed like he only asked Mick, and in doing that, it's almost like he had decided he was going to vote for Natalie, and he was making a point I think maybe he was showing the other people like maybe he was rooting for Natalie. Mm-hmm. Is my thought. I don't know everything about Brett, but we saw him connect with Natalie on a deep level, on a spiritual level. He's not going to vote for Russell. Why would he? So the jury, as we said, is looking at Mick as possibly the winner. Right. Well, let me point out a flaw on Mick. Mick doesn't care about us. Right. Mick didn't even get to know me, and I was there the longest out of all of you.
Exactly.
You know, kind of. I wonder if that was kind of his point, but in his own Brett way of doing it.
Sure.
Just me speculating on that one because he does vote for Natalie, but that is an expected vote. So right now, expected, Russell has one, Natalie has one, and we don't know what Jason's doing.
Right.
Kelly is the next juror. She is disappointed in Natalie, because she felt like in a way like they're similar. I don't know because they're both blonde women. Like she didn't really clarify how, I guess, but she's disappointed in what Natalie did, and Natalie says she fought in this game. I'm not really convinced by the answer, but it works, I guess, because she does end up voting for her.
I think she did fight in this game. I think she did more than Kelly did. That we're shown.
Sure.
So,
I mean, Kelly, I didn't even know who Kelly was till she got voted off, basically, it felt like.
Right. Yeah. Kelly aligned herself with Lauren, and Natalie aligned herself with Russell. So
you mean Laura?
Yeah, sorry, Laura.
Yeah, it's okay. Sierra's mom. Yeah, Russell's... All right, so then she talks to Russell. She's like, are you like this in real life? And Russell's like, oh, no, in real life, I don't lie or cheat or anything. He's like, not convincing at all.
No.
Russell should have been... I don't know if that would have helped, though. If Russell's like, you know what? In real life, I am a villain.
This is who I am.
I have to be a shrewd businessman to make a multi-million. That's not going to help him win either, though.
No.
He's in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Russell can't win this Kelly vote. Kelly's voting for Natalie. Mick didn't have a chance. I don't remember she asked Mick a question there. Monica's next. She says Mick and Natalie played honestly. Russell says Mick and Natalie followed him. And he would be like, oh yeah, I would do a move, and they would high five me, and they would say to me, Russell, you should win the million.
Yeah.
This is like Russell's narrative of how he remembers things. This is not reality.
Right.
I'm not, because I think there was one time where they're like, wow, Russell, what a great move or whatever, but like, I don't think anyone ever like high fived him and then told him, Russell, you should win the million.
No.
Yeah, like he's so delusional.
Right.
He doesn't even. He's not thinking about what the jury's going to think about the answers coming out of his mouth.
Right.
Oh, brother. So of course Monica's not convinced by that. I don't know why she picks Natalie over Mick though. You know what I mean? Like I really feel like
because
we need more time in this episode.
Sure.
To hear. I want to hear more from the jury.
I just feel like people picked Natalie because she was humble at Final Tribal. And Mick was just like, yeah, I made moves. I did things and I'm a good guy. Vote for me. But
then like Dave's next and he's like, what do you guys think your chances are at winning this game? Mick says 25%. Natalie says 30, maybe 30 to 40. And then Russell says it was higher, but now it's 55. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, okay. I mean, Mick was the most humble out of the three of those. Why doesn't Dave vote? You know what I mean? Like some of these like questions and answers aren't super clear to help us understand at the end of the day. We could say we saw Dave connecting with Natalie in a scene earlier in the season, and that's what felt like.
Yeah.
I just wish the show really went out of its way to paint Russell as this like mastermind, super villain, but they didn't take the time to really let us know why Natalie won. It leaves a lot for us to fill in the blanks, what I'm saying.
Right.
Sierra's mom is next. Russell pumps her up as a big threat. I thought this was actually Russell's one of his best answers the whole.
Yeah, this was pretty good.
She's like, why'd you get rid of me? Why were you aiming for me? And Russell tells her the truth. And he does it in a way it's like, actually, I'm like, that's not a bad answer. She doesn't vote for him.
Right.
Because her and Natalie connected. And also, Sierra's mom does have a bit of an ego as well here. Mm-hmm. So she needs to topple the other big ego there, which is Russell.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know what Russell could have done to get Sierra's mom's vote. He gives her the right answer. He gives her the right answer. He pumps her up.
And almost the right tone. Like he wasn't too proud about it.
So. No, he was being honest because he's being for real. She really was a big threat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Russell can't BS well, and he wasn't BSing here. So it doesn't get her vote, though. She still votes for Natalie. Mm-hmm. John's next. He asks what kind of people they are. Mick says, I'm a stand-up guy.
Yep.
Okay. Nat says she had to be under the radar to survive. I don't even have a note for Russell. Did Russell answer this question? Maybe. That's my answer.
I don't remember.
John votes for Russell at the end of the day, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do remember him at some point saying, and I forget who asked him. I wanted to say it was Monica though, but he was like, I'm honest that things that I value are integrity and honesty and loyalty.
Yeah.
I think that was Monica. But anyway, so kind of a similar answer, I guess.
I did take these notes on the fly. We didn't pause the episode every juror for me to take detailed notes. So yeah. All right. So Eric is the final juror and he basically lays it out. Now I've heard other podcasts say, I don't really like this. Like this isn't like the stump speech people think it is. This is the speech to define to you as the viewer why Natalie wins and why Russell loses. You don't have to agree with what Eric's saying. I think he speaks for the jury in a sense.
Right.
When he says that why are we valuing Russell being evil and manipulative? Like, why are these traits worth more to us as a jury than Natalie being nice and humble and seemingly weak? Why are those worse traits than Russell, controlling the game and being a jerk to people? Right. And, why? Like, because on paper, Russell played a better game, but we're not taking a paper test here. So it's when he says, it's just talk about how humble Natalie is and how Mick and Russell are just delusional about themselves. Now they think they're amazing. And
I can't guarantee, but I can bet you that if I was on that jury, I would imagine that Natalie would do better things with the money than I do.
You have to think about that too. Like, if I'm giving this person this money, what are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
What is Mick going to do with it? What is Russell going to do with it? And if Russell is over here touting he's a multimillionaire, I am less likely to vote for him.
Yeah.
I don't think
100%.
I think, Russell, how much he exaggerates everything. I wonder if he's even a multimillionaire here.
True. I don't know.
Maybe he was. This was when gas prices were insanely high and he's running oil. He's doing oil. But as I know where he is today, and I wonder if he was lying at the time, is what I'm saying.
I don't
know. So Eric really lays out basically what you need to, what the show wants you to think about, what the jury's thinking. And Natalie wins 7-2.
Yep.
So we watched the after show a little bit just for the silliness. It's one of the better reunions to watch because Russell is on the verge of tears. Now this is after he already knows he lost Heroes versus Villains. So he knows this is his one shot to win, and it doesn't happen. And as they're reading the vote, it looks like he already knows he lost.
Yeah, he does.
He does not look like he thinks he's about to win.
Yeah.
No. And then so he offers Natalie $10,000 for the title Sole Survivor. But then later...
So pathetic.
Then later he ups it to... No, he's being dead serious. Everyone's laughing.
I know, it's pathetic.
The audience is laughing. Jeff is laughing. And Russell's like, I'll offer $100,000.
Yep.
And now he's like, you know what? You want the $100,000? You need to get the jury to vote for you. Which I thought was hilarious.
Yes, basically.
Good on Natalie. She could have accepted the $100,000. And nobody would have thought she's not the sole survivor anymore, by the way. Nobody would have then said,
right.
It would have been a running joke maybe amongst the fandom, like Russell's the sole survivor because he bought it. But nobody would have thought he won the season.
Yes.
No, he won fan favorite, which I feel like is the closest equivalent to what he was looking for, which was he was looking for acknowledgement that he played the best game, and the fans voted him as their favorite. So take that for what you will. He got $100,000 out of that. It's not bad. So I said I want to keep this podcast shorter, and that didn't happen. We're definitely almost the same length as Gabon. So wow, I wonder if Heroes vs. Villains will be shorter. Probably not. All right, you ready for everybody's questions?
Yes.
These are over on our Patreon. This is May 2023, so I'm just saying that because when this goes on YouTube, it's going to be crazy. Sorry. So anyways, all right, Randall Westgard asked, had Russell watched Samoa before competing in Heroes vs. Villains, would he have competed differently? Had he been able to watch the season first?
I don't think so, because we've talked about how this is just his personality. Like, this is so ingrained in him that he's amazing. Yeah. And he's good, and this is how he plays. And
we do, if you read up on Russell post Heroes vs. Villains, you see how him and his wife got divorced and he tries to blame it on the show, and Russell doesn't change. Right. In some of his YouTube videos, he'll kind of acknowledge that Sandra and Natalie, people that win the game in the seasons he plays on, he'll be like, oh, I didn't mean to spoil Heroes vs. Villains, but whatever. Too late. If you don't know, sorry. But he's like, oh yeah, like I see how they, yeah. But like he doesn't really like go all out and be like, I get it. Mm-hmm. Like he like kind of alludes to it to like kind of appease people. Right. But Russell thinks he should have won Samoa.
Right. You can never fix your flaws if you don't admit that you have them, and he doesn't. No.
You would hope at the age that would change, but and then he goes on to play in Redemption Island with Boston Rob. He's the same guy there. Mm-hmm. That is, to be fair, it's only like a year after these 2 seasons.
Right.
And then he goes on Australian Survivor in 2018. A solid 9 years later after Samoa, is still the same person.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. He's the same person there. So, no, I don't think so. Russell doesn't seem like the kind of guy to see his mistakes and learn from them, unfortunately. So, Laura is next, and she asks, does Natalie deserve more respect as a winner? I think over time, Natalie's gained more respect from people, but I get people telling me, Mary, skip Natalie when you do Samoa story videos.
What? No, I like Natalie.
I think it's important.
I think she did the best with the hand she was dealt with.
Yeah.
And obviously the jury thought so too. I think she is disrespected a lot. Like, she deserved to win.
Well, the show makes a point to basically not show her.
Right.
I mean, she doesn't get a confessional until like episode 4 or something ridiculous like that. On purpose. Like, she gets 15 the whole season. It's insane. Natalie is not some incoherent buffoon talking. Mm-hmm. Like, where you can't understand what they're saying. Like, she speaks and you understand what she's saying, and she's intelligent. Like, she's nice. Like, I think they should have taken about 20 confessionals away from Russell, knocked them down to about 88, given them to Natalie. She gets 35. A huge imbalance still.
Yes.
But it's like 20 more confessionals from Natalie, I think, would have done night and day for understanding her
game.
Yeah. And that would have only taken away Russell talking about how he's going to win.
Right.
Like, you still get all of his strategy.
Sure.
You still hear how he's Picasso and his big, beautiful brain and everything. So, Giovanni asked, do you like the friendship between Russell, Hans, and Shambo?
I don't like anything about Russell.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I like Shambo and I like Russell. Are they still friends now? I guess would be a better question. If they're still friends now, then sure. But I think it was more of like a matter of...
He was just using her.
Yeah.
So that's not a real friendship.
Zach asks, in our opinion, how do we think the season/edit would have played out if there wasn't a dominant player like Russell to take... Let's say Russell wasn't on the season. Let's say we get like another Mick Jason type.
Sure.
Would we get a balanced edit? Let's say same results, by the way. This other person still gets second place, but they just play an average game. Like, they're nothing flashy. Who would the edit have favored? Because it's so clearly Russell.
I mean, if Russell isn't there, Foa doesn't... The Foa don't make it to the end.
No, why not? Why can't they make the same moves? Russell doesn't make these amazing... Like, Russell plays an idol once and negates all the votes for Kelly. Other than that, he needs his alliance. Like, beating Brett in immunity, somebody else could have done that. It wasn't like Russell and his beautiful brain beating Brett in immunity. You know what I mean? Like, what did Russell really do to flip the alliance? Like, anytime all he did was just like get threatened and then want to vote that person off. You think about it.
He was a driving personality that people rallied behind, especially since they were down.
They might have split up.
They would have split up come the merge.
Sure. Russell was definitely like their leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I think maybe Galoo does win at the end if they don't have a strong leader personality.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
All right, next question's from Blue Jay. How do you think Russell Swan, how far do you think he would have gotten if he wasn't medically evacuated? Because some people were like, oh, Russell Swan, but other people liked him. I don't think Russell Swan wins, but let's say I think Russell Swan's there at the merge. So we just talked about how Fofo needed their leader. Russell Swan would have been the leader for Galoo. If
Russell had made it to the merge and continued to be the leader
Swan.
Sorry, Russell Swan. I think he would have held Galoo. They wouldn't have voted Eric off first. They would have stayed tight, and they probably would have taken.
Or if they did vote Eric off, it would have been against his. Like, he would have tried to not get. He would have tried to make them not do that.
Right.
Guys, let's stick together. We got this. We're Galoo.
He definitely would have made the merge. He would have probably made it farther. I don't know if he would have won, but
yeah, because I think at that tribal, let's say like that challenge goes normally, and they do have their tribal like they wanted there instead of Russell just getting. I don't think he was getting voted off that night.
No.
I don't think he was going. So I don't know who gets voted off that night from Galoo instead of him. And somebody from Fofo would have got voted off too, which would have been crazy because that's one. Though I wonder if they merge an episode sooner if they had that double tribal. Like they merged episode 8. I wonder if they actually merged episode 7 with that double tribal.
Maybe.
You know? So Fofo still could have been down 4 to 8. My point. Yeah, I don't think Russell Swan lets them fall apart come the merge.
No.
Not at least he doesn't let them. They might still do it, but he will not let them do it. I don't think he's like let's align with Foa. No. So you probably get a more predictable outcome in terms of that, but I don't know. I think he makes it pretty far. I don't know if anybody's letting Russell Swan to the end. Or if they do, they might be like Russell Swan, great guy, terrible Survivor player. I don't know.
I don't know,
but you sit next to like Dave, who thinks he's like the, the bee's knees. I think Russell Swan beats him.
Sure.
I don't know. Like people, I don't know. Like it's hard to predict. He sits next to Brett though. I think Brett wins.
Or Laura.
Sierra's mom. Yeah. All right. 5RG2 asks, what do you think would have happened per round? Kind of the same question as before. I don't want to go per round. What would have happened? I can't. It's like it's too soon. He got evacuated in episode 6. He doesn't know what would have happened if Swan had stayed. He wants to go per round, but like both tribes go to tribal that episode as they were supposed to go and vote someone out. Well, let me double check. Sorry. So that at that point, Russell gets. Let's just talk about that episode. We can do that episode, but I can't go per round. So Russell doesn't get evacuated. Ashley just got voted off. The next person to get voted off of Fofo, I think is still Liz, because Liz had already set herself up to be voted off because the episode before Russell gets pulled, she calls out Russell Hantz for lying and says he has the idol. So he feels threatened. That was the episode before Swan gets pulled. Liz is gone at the double tribal. Liz is gone double tribal. And who goes from Galoo, I don't know, though.
Liz was gone the episode before.
Ashley's voted off episode 5.
Yes. So whoever it was next from Galoo.
I don't know who's next. Well, next from Galoo ends up being Eric, but that's only because they turn on him come merge. I don't know who actually goes from Galoo.
Monica. Somebody weak, I'm sure.
Somebody they would have viewed as a liability in challenges.
Right, yeah.
Not Sierra's mom. I don't see Brett
Kelly
going.
possibly, but I think Monica. I think it would have been Monica.
Sure, she's
because
like,
I think didn't Russell want to get rid of Monica anyways? Wasn't she lazier on camp or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, that
I remember
sounds
some
familiar.
negative comment from. So say Monica went home then.
Whoever Swan wanted to go, I think would have gone, because I don't think there was no real strong personalities on the tribe would have overthrown him. So, all right, last question is what's the comparison between Russell Hantz and George from Australian Survivor? Well, we haven't seen. Mary and I have only seen seasons 1, 2, and I think 7 of the new version of Australian Survivor.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
So we haven't seen George play. We've only seen the first 2 where you have Christy Bennett. We've seen the first Luke Talkie, I think is how you say his last name, Luke Talkie season with Jericho. And we've seen the season with Sandra and her daughter Nina, Sandra from American Survivor. So I can't compare, unfortunately, George. So I have heard, Mary, that we might have to check it out because George plays 2 times and he plays super villainous on purpose the whole time, and he does really well.
Gotcha.
Kind of like Luke in a way. If you think about Luke in Australian Survivor, like he played villainous and he was having fun doing it.
Yeah.
But I think Luke is more revered because he had fun. He looked like he was having fun. I remember that's what I remember about Luke, at least. So I don't know. Wish I could compare, but I can't. Never seen George on Australian Survivor.
Sorry.
Well, 2.5 hours. We definitely went shorter than Gabon, which was 2 hours 24 minutes. Well, we thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.